Live.
We're live.
Hey.
And
Only
we
5
are
minutes
only
late.
we're getting better. I think it's actually going down each week pretty much. So, one
That's
of these
amazing.
days
Hmm.
we'll have to do a hard reset. Next week can be 45 minutes late. Arguably though, we are an hour and 5 late because the clocks in the UK have changed again now.
They
So
have
Oh, so
we're
we can go back to 4
we
o'clock
can
and I
go
don't
back
have
to
to.
4, yeah. So
Yeah.
actually, from a certain point of view, we are an hour late, which is as late as we've ever been, which is good. I think I prefer that one. We're going on the up.
The clocks have gone forward, haven't they?
Yes, they have. Yeah, I
For
was
us.
just happily working away at sort of my usual midday time, which is like 1 a.m. And then I looked at the clock and I'd lost an entire hour. I was like, for fuck's sake, I've got too much to do for you to be stealing time from me. But this is the world in which we live.
Oh, that makes me so happy to go back to 4 o'clock my time. Thank God. So it just kills me waiting an extra hour every time.
Yeah, I forgot to mention it, but yeah, for next week we'll be back to
Yay.
4 p.m. Eastern and 9 p.m. No,
UK.
yeah, it's 9 p.m.
PM.
UK. That is
Yeah.
how it works.
I don't
as
know
opposed
that
to
big time.
5 and 10. I think that makes sense. Yeah. Anyway, we're not here to talk clock. We're here to talk some other shit that's happening in the world. So first up, I believe, is the Snow White thing.
We're here to
Has
trash.
just been shot in the head by Jason Statham. Is the most recent news I saw about it.
Mr. Brown messaged me and said that movie was good. The Jason
well,
Statham one.
let's put it this way: it's entertaining, but it wasn't as good as The Beekeeper. If you can,
I
see
can't
that,
believe
that
anyone
level.
would say that was good.
Well, I did.
All right.
It isn't as good as The Beekeeper.
Well,
you're-
that's
you're-
based on the Chuck Dixon novel, I believe. So good for him. Good for him. I'm glad to see him get some dues.
Is The Beekeeper where he was a professional beekeeper spy and then he retires and becomes a literal beekeeper?
Yes, that's the one. That's how stupid it was, but it was a lot of fun though because he killed everybody, so that was really cool. So, but yeah, this one's not very good.
There's all kinds of news surrounding Snow White, though, because it just never stops when it comes to this movie. But, it bombed at the box office, as everyone knew, through opening weekend. But its second weekend was an absolute collapse.
Wow.
It's doing very poorly. And I wanted to throw this in here, too, for the screenshot, because I had my pick. And I thought this was great because it's from the New York Times, actually reported that Snow White had a $350 million budget. So that's 80 million more than was previously reported. So you can imagine how much it actually was.
Wow.
I would imagine more like 500 million, but
yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, they're probably still not accounting for marketing, not accounting for the theater take and all the rest of that stuff. It's like, I always like though when out there, like the New York Times says more than was previously reported. So previously reported by whom? Other people who don't know what they're talking about? Because like most people on YouTube know how this works. You'd think it would have bled through into the mainstream media by now. That whenever they give you the budget, you add at least half on top of that, if not double it.
Over here, right? They're advertising on the radio, and it says it's the world's #1 film.
It is,
Literally.
but who cares if you're number one? If you made like $1
know.
and the other movies made 0, you're okay. You're number one. You're the number one piece of shit. Good job.
Well, they're not. Yeah, they're not competing against anything, and they're still bombing.
Yeah,
I think there was like close to a 70% drop after this weekend. I saw it on Friday because I love the chat. You guys decided to punish me and pay for me to go, and I literally wanted to walk out within 5 minutes. Like there was so much singing. It was just I wanted to throw up right there. It was just like, and I was by myself. There was no one in the theater. And I'm like, how, like this is not good. And it's like really stiff. The dialogue stiff. Everything about it is like off. This is a huge collapse.
It's the kind of thing you can see why it collapsed, right? Which is, I mean, the 70% figure is a really significant one because it opened to a relatively low number. It's fair enough. If it had opened to a huge box office take on the opening weekend, you'd kind of expect a fairly chunky drop off just because it's hard to maintain that. But if you open and you've earned like $5 and you get a 70% drop, that's awful because it kind of means that of all the cinemas, all the theaters everywhere in the United States of America, most of the viewers are Rachel Zegler and a couple of friends that she dragged to see her own movie, so they could just fucking scream at the screen, which was one of the very embarrassing clips that came out last week of her and her friends.
Well,
Let me ask
we
you a
had
question, right? Do you think the why it flopped was because of the actual movie itself, or because of the whole thing surrounding it, the whole controversy thing
Confluence
surrounding
of
it?
reasons, I think.
You
It's got to
reckon?
be both, right? I mean,
Yeah.
because you would expect most normal people not to be quite as tuned up as we are with the many crimes of Rachel Zegler. But then when they actually did go and see the film, it's awful. So you can discount all the shit that she said and all the controversy surrounding it. But as Goosh said, like within 5 minutes, you know that you're watching a pile of complete arse gravy. And
Yeah.
it's just like, it's awful. It's just so bad. It's soulless and irritating, and the acting is awful, and the songs are bad, and it looks like garbage. And it's just, why would you take your kids back to see this movie? So between the two of those reasons,
Well, here's the thing. Like, as much as, people can sit there and say, oh, people are going to go see Minecraft. People are going to go see Snow White. And I'm telling
they
them,
didn't.
no, they're not, because us YouTubers have become the media now. People actually rely on our takes, and you're seeing more and more people saying, I'm not going to go see that because I heard Gary say it's bad, or Platoon, or Cynic, or someone talked about it and saying it's not worth it. That's where they're getting the reviews now. They're not trusting, your main media. They're trusting us more. And
Well, and
it's funny when you talk to young kids, like 20-year-olds, they're saying, no, I'm not going to see that, because on YouTube or on TikTok or wherever they're getting their, social media, they're saying, I saw someone talk about this and it sounds really gay, and I'm not going to go see it.
well,
Yeah.
very often, I'd say most of the time, it's funny being in this niche now and participating in it, because most often what we're talking about, we are right, and the legacy media is completely wrong.
Mhm.
It happens. It's almost like a weekly basis, especially when it's summer movie season, or even right now, like what happened with Captain America 4. The budget's been completely misrepresented by the mainstream media, and right before it came out, everyone was saying that it was getting glowing reviews, and we were like, first of all, the budget is at least twice as much as that, and it's going to get terrible reviews because this movie has shown itself that there's no chance in hell it's going to be good. And then rest assured, that's exactly what happened. Then it happened again with Snow White, and now it's happening with the Minecraft movie, which we'll get to. It's happening over and over and over again. So it makes sense that they'd trust people like us over the New York fucking Times, which I'm sure this is a misrepresentation of the budget again, because we're pretty sure it's higher than that.
although it is worth saying that even the mainstream media shat on this movie, which was quite a remarkable turn of events.
Amazing,
Because
right?
normally they can be relied upon to pick up even a piece of shit, like give it at least an IGN 7. But this one, I mean, with the usual qualifier being that Rotten Tomatoes is completely fucking useless, it's still kind of interesting to note what the disparity is and where the critics in particular stand. And I think the tomato meter, the critics section on that, is only at 40%, which means that the movie is close to a 1 or a 2% in actual quality terms. And bizarrely, the audience score is higher than that. But as everybody knows, the audience score is only calculated by the number of people who rate it above a 5, isn't it? And it turns into positive. So lots of people could have come away from it thinking, well, I was high, so, I had a good time.
Decided.
So it was fine.
Well, here's the thing too, and people forget. 2 weeks ago, how many critics came out and raved about Snow White, saying, "Oh, Ziegler is the main star. Her singing is so great. Everything about this movie, the dwarves are maybe a little bit off, but it's a good way to represent the old 1930, was it 1938, 39 classic,
37.
37 of Snow White. They did a really good job. It was like a 6 or 7 out of 10. Like, they came out and started saying these things, and they're shills, obviously getting paid to say this thing, or bots, but people, the election proved it. That big sea of red said people are tired of being lied to, and they're going to media, the real media. Well, not the real media, but they're going to people like us that are just normal people, and listening to us talk about these things, and that's where they're getting their news and their pop culture feed. So
Well,
I
we
just want
guys
to
have
mention,
nothing to lose, do we? When we
Yeah.
review, we're not being paid. We
Right,
just say
yeah.
what
well,
we see. So
just for the sake of being accurate, so the movie dropped 66% from its opening weekend of 42.2 million down to 14.2 million. And again, to kind of go with what Lil Platoon was saying, that doesn't seem like the worst drop ever until you recognize that it's falling that much from 42 million. It's not 357 million like Avengers Endgame was, and it still made like $150 million its second weekend. You're falling from grace here. Well, not even from that high, actually. But and to answer the question that we popped up in the thing, I asked Chat GPT. Chat says that 40% is the typical decline from week 1 to week 2. So not only did it fall 66% from $42 million, like that's just an abysmal drop. So
wow,
yeah, not looking too good for this one.
no,
So how much is it going to lose, do you think?
a crap load.
Yeah, a crap load. Someone in the chat said a cool $500 million.
Wow.
Probably. Yeah.
That's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Didn't one of the executives, he had to fly out and shout at Rachel Zegler?
Yeah.
That was in the news too.
Yeah, so it was the producer, wasn't it? The producer had to go in and reprimand her, and then allegedly her social media from that point onwards was being vetted, but she was kind of refusing to go along with it. But that news sort of resurfaced when the producer's son on Instagram decided that he would kind of admirably tell something approaching the truth. And things are bad when Hollywood people start telling the truth. But because some person on Instagram who evidently was like a Zegler fan, because those people do exist, had said how weird it was that like he was told off for supporting Palestine, basically, and he said no. My dad, the producer in the movie, he had to go and tell a grown-up, an adult, a 20-year-old who had dragged her controversial politics into a marketing campaign she was paid to do to promote a movie that thousands of people had worked on and the entire financial fortunes of an entire company was based on, that she could not drag the reputation of this entire project down out of her narcissism and her vanity. And the word narcissism was used by the producer's son. He said that we shouldn't coddle this sort of thing. And it's like, this is great. And if someone had told Rachel Zegler this when she was 10, she might have emerged as a better human being. But it's a little bit late for that now.
Yeah, but I get the feeling that they're only doing it now because of the huge flop of the film. Why didn't they do it earlier, before the film was released? Why didn't they stop her?
Her career is basically over with. She's got no more future potential, so they're just going, you know what, Rachel, go fuck yourself. Let's just reveal how horrible you are. Your box office poison.
This is the Gina Carano effect, because they did what they did to Gina, and she didn't even do anything even remotely close to what Zegler did. So they thought, oh, we'll let her have free speech here because we're in this lawsuit with Gina Carano and being backed by Elon Musk. So we got to kind of change the way we go about this. Well, that backfired on them big time, because they went and got a social media guru for Zegler, and she still said stupid shit. She wiped out more than half your audience by saying, I hope all you Trump voters I
never know peace or something like
that.
that.
Never know peace, like that. That's smart. That is really smart. Like, wipe out like over half your audience right there, who are probably would want to go see it because they're very family oriented. Like so
that's a good point.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous what Disney's doing, and I hope Gina goes through with all of it. I think she is, because like, this is not going to be good it's not good for Disney at all. Disney's like really suffering right now. I think all the studios are actually suffering, but
yeah.
Well, Rachel's biggest mistake was not being a box office success, because Pedro Pascal had actually said stupid shit like that. Didn't he call like Trump voters Nazis?
Mark Ruffalo, same thing.
Yeah,
all of them.
But they're established. One's Hulk, one's a fucking Mexican Joel.
So, one is everyone, right? Is there anyone who's not played by Pedro Pascal?
Yeah.
He's Latino version of everyone.
I guarantee you that will all be brought up when that goes into any kind of court proceedings with Gina Carano. Like it's going to get ugly. I think it's going to get a lot uglier for Disney.
I think that was because those names were mentioned because of like the number of tweets they put out, and I vaguely remember hearing that was it Pedro Pascal had sort of come out in support of Zegler over the last week. I've not read the comments,
Yes,
so I don't
said
know.
Icon, called her an icon. Pedro's
what?
he
Well,
called her an icon. Yeah,
I mean she's an icon. She's an icon of something, but an icon isn't necessarily good.
Yeah.
Hitler was an icon of the Nazi Party, kind of thing. It's not a signifier of quality.
God.
It's a shame, really, right? Because this could have been a really good film if they just stuck to the plan and stuck with the story that was already there. But they had to put their politics into it.
Everything was completely different.
Yes.
Every single thing was different.
Yeah. I heard that Gal Gadot, as I call her, is really terrible in this movie. My sister,
she's so bad, dude.
They said that she was so bad that they were laughing.
Well, that's the thing, because she's so bad that she's the best thing in the movie. Because every one of her scenes is hilarious, and you kind of there's a weird joy you get from watching her trying to be a person, and like you can't say that of anybody else. So like the highlight of the movie for me is Gal Gadot. She's awful, but it's really fun to watch.
Oh, dear.
I'm sorry, but like, what is that? The captain of the thieves or the
Prince?
Yeah, him. Yeah, Prince of the him and the guy from Wicked. I don't know. You get the gayest guys to play these lead roles, and I'm just sitting there going, he doesn't want to kiss a girl. What are you like? Who are you trying to kid here?
This is the thing that's going through movies now, isn't it? That they're not giving us, real, as I say, real men. I mean, even look at the new Superman. He looks a bit soft as well. He doesn't, he hasn't got the Henry Cavill or the Chris Reeves look about him. He just looks weird, as far as I'm concerned. That's what's going through our movies now. Sorry, say again.
I think it's the outfit that was picked for him. It makes him look like Play-Doh.
Yeah, I think it's just proportions on him. Like he's a tall guy. I think I believe he's a really big guy, but Superman has to have that big chest, and I've said this a million times, but he has to have that big, like Henry Cavill had that big chest, like he was top heavy. He looked like Superman. He looked like he could go through a wall. Like Corn Sweat looks, he looks like a big guy, but that outfit doesn't look good on him, and he just kind of has like a long neck. He looks, I don't know, it looks awkward and lanky. He doesn't look
Platoon
like
said that watching wrestling's gay, but this sounds pretty gay to me. What you guys need in a man. So.
Yeah. I need a man with a big chest. Yeah, thank you.
It's just Superman, isn't it? I mean, look, I'm an older gentleman, and I remember Superman when I was a kid, the 70s Superman, and he looked like Superman, looked like Chris Reeves. Do you know what I mean? And then Henry Cavill was close. But then this new guy, Mr. Cornball, whatever his name is, he doesn't look like Superman at all, as far as I'm concerned. He just looks weird. The costume doesn't help either. He just looks awful in the costume. So I don't know what's going on with Hollywood. Well, I do really, but we all know that.
Yeah.
Do we so what do we suspect the third week drop? But when it actually has a movie to compete with, Minecraft, for example, which I imagine I suspect will
targeting
do
similar audience,
of money, similar audience, which is just any audience at all. It's the only way around it is like maybe some people will go and see Minecraft and think, well, we're already here, so we might as well go and see the other one. But I don't see that outweighing the number of people who are going to go and pick one, not the other. Will anyone see this in its third weekend at all?
Doesn't look like
bad
it.
as Minecraft.
It's meant to be really bad.
It looks bad in the trailers.
Looks horrible.
Shocking.
And it's getting good reviews, so that means it's going to come. But of course, there's a review embargo, except for like you can post it on Twitter and socials, your very short blurb of a review. But the true reviews can't come out until Thursday, so that means it's probably gonna debut with like a 40% rating on Rotten Tomatoes or something from critics. I would imagine. So in the third week is when they start shedding screens too. So I would imagine probably between a 50 and 60% drop next weekend for Snow White, even with Minecraft coming out, which probably isn't going to do stellar numbers here either.
Here's the thing. I work with kids and they play Minecraft. Like I literally was talking to a kid and he was playing Minecraft as I was talking to him. I'm like, "Oh, you're gonna go see the movie?" He goes, "Fuck that. That looks gay as shit."
He actually said that to you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That
He's
looks
just like,
gay.
"Fuck that. It looks gay as shit." And I'm like, "Oh," and he's the movie they're all waiting for is Jurassic World.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's depressing as well, because those movies
sad.
are awful. But
Yeah.
it's kind of encouraging in the sense that because that is the demographic you'd think the Minecraft movie is really going after. Like the hardest is kids who play it every day, and if even they're saying no, then it might, because I just assumed this would be a smash hit. It'll do really well. It'll be awful. Critic scores will be pretty low, but the audience scores will be fun. And if you criticize it, you'll be told, well, it's just a video game movie. It's not supposed to be taken seriously. It's fine that it's retarded. It's like, no, I don't want to go through all of that cycle again. But if the kids are already turned off to it, maybe we can skip that stage and go straight to make better movies with your IPs.
I think that would have worked, but Jack Black showed his face.
No. Momoa showed up with bangs and a pink jacket.
If they just
pink jacket.
If they just did the Mario and just made them 3D, it would have been fine.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
It would have been perfectly acceptable, but they didn't. They put Jack Black in his stupid fucking face on it. They got Jason Momoa in that wig, and that annoying black girl who's just gonna go, "What the hell?" every 5 minutes. Those fucking two gay kids no one likes. Fuck them.
Say what you mean, mate.
Yeah, say what you really think about this.
If they all just died in the first 5 minutes, just like crushed to death.
Reapers nailed it.
I'd watch it.
Oh fucking god!
But that was the thing.
Unfortunately, I am gonna watch it.
That the kids don't care about the actors. They don't care about a 56-year-old Jack Black.
No.
Who is he in there to appeal to?
It's to sell the movie, isn't it? That's why they got.
Yeah, to who though?
To lower end countries. When they sell in the film, lower end countries will buy it because Jack Black's in it and Jason Momoa's in it.
But China only know who he is because he voices a panda, and if he was a panda, that makes sense.
Here's the thing:
better than nothing, isn't it, to sell your movie?
People remember Jack Black. From earlier in the summer when he was on stage with his buddy and they and he said that thing about Trump. So there's a lot of hatred towards him for the thing, expressing their views on I forget what he said, something
but it wasn't about him, was it? It was his bandmate who said it.
Yeah, his bandmate. But people affiliate
Kyle Gass.
People
didn't drop him like a hat.
People associate him with it because they were back at it like a few months later doing the same thing, and people don't care for him. Like they're just like don't say talk about your politics. If you're a celebrity, don't talk about your politics. Do what Denzel does when people kept peppering him. Who would you vote for? Who would you vote for? And he goes, "That's none of your business."
Yeah,
like plain and simple. Like Beyonce, did she do anything for that election? No. Like I mean, that a lot of people are butthurt by all that. Because they were talking down to the average American, and people are just like, screw you, I'm gonna like go based and go with the people that I know that are kind of like just doing the product, not talking politics, and that's who I'm gonna watch. And you're starting to see that.
It's insane that the studio has had to pay more money for these two than to just animate a bunch of block characters, and these two have cost them more money by not doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been
for these box office poisons in your movie. That's going to kill it.
Would it be cheap if they just lent their voices, or would it be still the same amount of money? Though that's the question.
You'd imagine it'd be significantly cheaper than that, because if it's just a voice role, you don't even have to turn up on a set or anything like that. But it's always the slightly weird thing when they do choose to do these in live action at all. With the Super Mario movie, they wisely chose to keep it in an animated style. They gave it to Illumination, who do like the safest and most soulless animating jobs around, but they knew that they didn't need to try and add real world elements into it, because kind of the charm of it is the art style that's associated with it. It would be like taking South Park and making it played by real human beings. It just doesn't work in the same way.
That's
so I don't really know why they've chosen to do this, except that they can say, hey, look who we've got in the film. So go see it, because you all love Jason Momoa, right? You remember when he was in that really good thing?
Remember when he was Aquaman?
Oh, yeah.
Didn't you love that?
Well, now you look at, I almost said the F word. Now look at him. Like, look at that. Like, he looks like Pinky Tuscadero from Happy Days, for crying out loud. What is that? Like, he's got bangs. He's got a pink jacket. Like, is that supposed to represent the average male in America?
If they think you like Jason Momoa, why did they dress him up like that?
Because that's Hollywood for you.
Well, they're going for
it's like a humiliation ritual.
Meme potential, right? That's almost certainly this movie will just be a succession of skits that they hope will turn into a meme, and it will have no story. And I imagine having like Jack Black in there as being naturally garish, and then making Momoa look garish as well, will just be all used for some very, very tired visual comedic gags, and that's kind of it.
Does anybody know the story to this? Right? Is it like these people get sucked into this game?
So. The positive reviews, Ian, say that it's really wacky and funny, and as that commenter said, random. But the faults of the movie, and remember, this is from the positive reviews, are that it lacks in substance in its story, and that the lead characters are not well developed. That's from the fucking positive reviews, you guys.
No story, no characters.
Do you know what, right? Because the reason why I asked that is because he looks like a hairdresser, right, from Hollywood. I think he got sucked in this game. Do you know what I mean? That's what it looks like to me, right? It looks like he's just a hairdresser, like a gay hairdresser or something. He gets sucked into this game. That's what it looks like. So that's why I'm asking, do these people get sucked into the game accidentally or something? Is that the story? I don't know what
I assume so, because there's no other reason for them to be like real world human beings, but them to be within like a game animated type world. My guess would be, it's a bit like Tron. You get sucked into the game somehow, and
Jumanji
the story kicks off.
They're trying to do
Tron as well. Like Jeff Bridges gets sucked in earlier on, which is Steve.
We keep saying sucked. Looking at Jason Momoa, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, come on.
But I mean, that might explain why he's dressed like that, though. That's all I'm saying. Do you know what I mean? But they can't deliberately. Well, yeah, that might be the reason why. I don't know. Jack Black probably is like a bookstore owner or something, and he gets sucked in or whatever.
Well, he'll be like the first person to have been sucked into the world, and so he's the expert, like mentor figure, the Obi-Wan of the Minecraft world, and then they all bump into him, and he's like, "I've lived here for many years. Let me show you the ropes." That would be my guess as to how this story, quote unquote, unfolds, but we'll see.
Do you think they'll kill him like Obi-Wan? Do you think he'll just stand there and someone sticks him with a knife?
I hope more graphically than that. Like, I want to see him properly, brutally, like, kicked down into the netherworld and raped by dragons or something. That would be more fun.
Predictions? And you guys have any predictions how much this is going to make?
A disgusting amount of money. I still think it'll make loads of money.
You think so?
Yeah. I think it'll be fucking awful, and everyone will go and see it at least once.
I bet it opens higher than Snow White did. Yeah.
White.
Oh, and I do have a synopsis for you here. If you do want it, Ian.
Go on then.
Okay, so 4 misfits find themselves struggling with ordinary problems when they are suddenly pulled through a mysterious portal into the overworld, a bizarre cubic wonderland that thrives on imagination. Can you actually imagine this movie having any semblance of creativity?
I knew it.
To get back home, they'll have to master this world and protect it from evil things like piglins and zombies too, while embarking on a magical quest with an unexpected expert crafter, Steve. Together, their adventure will challenge all 5 to be bold and to reconnect with the qualities that make each of them uniquely creative, the very skills they need to thrive back in the real world.
Okay.
Doesn't that sound exciting?
No. So it's Jack Black that's already been in there, and as Platoon says
Steve.
that he's going to be, he's Steve. He's going to be training him or something.
He's starting to look like Tim Allen in the Santa Claus.
Yeah.
They'll probably do a bit as well where they do attempt to do a kind of a character moment where like he doesn't want to go back into the real world, and he has to learn to see that, that you can't live in your denial forever. You can't carry on being like the game world version. You have to go back. So like they'll all really want to go back, and then he'll like kind of help them, but when it comes to it, he'll be like, I want to stay. And they'll say, no, you can't keep living in your dream world. You have to be an adult and come back to the real world and learn the lessons that you've learned here, and you'll be really good. And then like they'll take him back or something. Something incredibly generic that you've seen 1,000 million times before. But the reason I think it'll make quite a bit of money is that the Mario movie did not have to be excellent to make $1 billion. The Mario movie was just okay. It did everything okay. It wasn't especially deep. There wasn't an especially compelling story, but there was a story. Characters were bare minimum, but they were still there. Well, it did get good reviews, and I think because it didn't completely shit over everything. It wasn't trying to offend you. It just didn't think it had to be very ambitious in anything that it was doing. This might turn out to be more offensive than that, which might mean that it makes a little bit less money. But the initial interest is still there, given that Minecraft isn't it the biggest selling game of all time? It's the most recognizable arguably of all time as well.
Do you know the Mario film? I took my nieces to see it, right? And we went in 4DX. And if it wasn't for the 4DX, I don't know if you guys know what 4DX is.
Yeah,
it's kind of like a ride where your chair moves.
Unnecessary.
Yeah. But if it wasn't for that, I would never enjoy the movie. I enjoyed it because of the 4DX. It was like a ride, and my nieces, who were like really young, 7, 8, they loved it. So I don't know if they're going to do the same with this one.
Do you think they picked Jack Black because he was Bowser?
Who knows?
Yeah, he's like inexorably connected to kids' movies at this point. Remember, he started with School of Rock. Now
that was good. That was good.
I have a tough time with this because like the name alone, Minecraft, should be enough to bring people in, but Borderlands should have made a lot of money just based on its name as well.
I mean, Borderlands hasn't been massively relevant for about a decade, has it? I mean, when even was the last popular Borderlands game? I can't remember which one it was.
Well, 3 was a disaster.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking like, because like this has got a lot of gay tones to it. Like it's just like your pride. It's very pride, DEI. I think people are just done with that, and I think that you're going to see maybe 450 to 500 million tops on this.
That would be crazy if it makes that much money, but maybe.
I don't think it'll work. I think it's just because it's human actors. I think if Mario was Pedro Pascal and fucking someone else, it wouldn't have made that much money.
Mm-hmm.
They tried that in the 90s. That movie fucking bombed. Do you remember the Super Mario Brothers movie with John Leguizamo?
Bob
like I've heard people say this is going to make $1 billion. I'm like, there's no way this is making $1 billion.
Don't know about that one.
The same would happen with GTA.
No.
If you had Trevor and he didn't look like Trevor, I don't think anyone would watch it.
No, I'm not gonna.
Man, that's true. It's so true. If they had done a live action Mario movie, it would not have made nearly as much money as it did.
Well, to be fair, the Mario Brothers film that came out was up against Jurassic Park at the time, so
that doesn't matter. It literally is like one of the biggest bombs of all time. It has nothing to do with its competition.
It was a terrible movie. Weird film as well. Like visually, it was kind of perverse and bizarre. Like, didn't that movie basically make Nintendo reevaluate the entire genre of film? Like this is on the basis of this experiment. Fuck off! Are we doing that again?
Yep. They said they were not going to just hand over their IP to a studio anymore. So.
Oh, what they are? Zelda's coming out.
Yeah, that's on this list.
Yeah,
we do have that to talk about at some point here.
So, it did put them off destroying their IPs for a while.
For a time, but for a good 30 years, that's a good run.
It's a good run, yeah.
But everything must be raped in today's society.
Who's producing this movie?
I don't know.
Or what studio? I forget what's.
Take a look.
I don't know anyone who's behind this film. We should probably check that out.
It is. Come on now.
Is it Warner Brothers? I think it's Warner Brothers. Actually, now I think of it.
I can't find it.
Yeah, Warner Brothers.
I think it's Warner Brothers.
Oh yeah, Warner Bros.
Yeah.
Do they just not like money? They're doing like Black Snape as well. Are they just allergic to profit?
They were the fools who did the day and date streaming after the pandemic for 2021. Yeah, they are allergic to fucking money. I swear to God.
Well, they're really like they were riding high on Mickey 17 to make a lot of money. They're riding on this to make a lot of money, and they're really really hoping to make over $1 billion for Superman, and I don't
that's
think
not going to happen. They cannot make $1 billion off an IP that's never made $1 billion alone.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen. Superman isn't popular enough. They couldn't even do it when they put Batman in the fucking movie.
But why don't you think they know that though? If we know that, right? How comes they don't know that?
And it comes full circle. We're usually right. We got a good track record, and
well, they got a lot of yes people, the toadies. They just go in there and they just agree with everything that they say. That's what they have in there.
I'm still trying to get my head around this, right? You're in charge of a huge studio, and all these people are telling you things, but you don't know which way to go. Isn't it logic that you try to go to fans or something like that and try and find out where you're supposed to go and what consists of this IP to make it good?
First of all, if I was in charge of like the DCU, I would be going to the people that actually wrote the books.
Yeah, so would I.
Getting their feedback and getting them to come in and help with the scripts or write the scripts. But they're getting people that are just,
that makes no sense to me.
I want this in there. I want that in there. I want this. I want that. Yeah.
I mean, just the basics, right? When they did that, when Zach was doing the DC universe, he was throwing everything, and they wanted to fly before they could walk, right? With that, because of Marvel. So you think they've learned their lesson on this, but the new Superman is doing the same thing, right? He's included all these heroes in it and stuff. So I don't understand why they're not learning. They can't be that stupid, surely.
Yeah. I don't understand how Zack Snyder got any money. Who the fuck hired him?
Well,
every movie he did was
because he did Watchmen. And I think Watchmen is a fucking terrible movie.
I don't like it.
I kind of liked it.
I think it's a bad movie, but
yeah, I liked it.
They looked at that and they were like, "He's the guy," which blows.
He's
my
the
mind.
guy to ruin everything. Army of the Dead was shit. Rebel Moons was shit. He destroyed the DCU. How the fuck did he keep getting away with it?
Do you know what, right, guys? I have a friend right here in LA, right, and I've known him for years, and he is actually linked with Hollywood and stuff, right? And he told me that when Zack Snyder was given the job to make Superman, right, he did not know what Superman was. Would you believe
clearly.
that?
Did you see Man of Steel?
He
does not understand that fucking character at all.
He was instead of reading the comics, he was asking everyone around him what Superman was and what Superman stood for. Would you believe that? Superman, a well-known character in the entire world. He didn't know.
Who told him he was a terrible Jesus analogy?
I know. God, it's such an obnoxious thing when you think about what kind of person that type of shit appeals to. It's the kind of it's I've said it a million times, it's like a teenage edgelord that's like struck by imagery alone, and that enough is to make a movie deep because Superman went like this. It's like it's the Jesus analogy.
Well, what do you say about Batman? Batman isn't dark. Batman would get raped in my movie.
That's right. Yeah, that is a real Zack Snyder quote.
Well, Zack Snyder is doing a MMA
and then
movie
Todd
now
Phillips,
with Dana White.
Phillips beat him to it with Joker.
Yeah, yeah, that really fucking happened, man. How many non-Batman related DC movies are good? 2? Is that what you said? Gooch,
no, I was saying hi to Zax.
Oh, gotcha.
But
I'm doing this.
What up, Zax? Yeah. Zack Snyder, I don't like any of his films really. And we discussed Rebel Moon on my channel, and that was good times. Yeah, I don't know how this guy gets a job still. He should not be writing anything. He should just be, doing the CG stuff and special effects and maybe some direction a little here and there. But
his cinematography is terrible.
It's awful.
His films, that's the thing. He wants to be a cinematographer more than a director, and he's terrible at both. He somehow gets real actors and make them look like they're on a green screen. I don't know how he does it.
Maybe
I could smear a camera lens and shit and get a better shot than he does.
It's just I feel like because he has a recognizable style and that style looks like absolute dog shit, but because it's recognizable, that's what gets him work. It's like you do know a Zack Snyder movie when you see it. As soon as you see it, you're like, yep, that looks like shit. Must be Snyder.
Mm.
And then you give him $200 million.
God.
Imagine if they did let him make a Star Wars movie, it would have been so bad. Judged on, was it Rebel Moon?
Rebel Moon. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was
Mhm.
famously the only right decision Kathleen Kennedy ever made was turning him down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kathleen Kennedy said no to you. The only person in the world.
Yeah, I like Watchmen. I thought Watchmen was. I mean, obviously he didn't write it. He was based on the comic book, and you can't go wrong if you follow the comic book. Do you know what I mean? I thought it was really good. Personally, I think it's the best thing he's ever done. I think it's the only good thing he's ever done.
I agree. I agree with you in that. I liked Watchmen as well, but
Is Kathleen Kennedy leaving? I thought I saw something about it.
So is she actually leaving? She said that she is and isn't. She said she's staying to finish up a certain amount of movies, like the ones she's actively involved in. She's going to finish, and then she will announce when she's ready that that she's going to help guide her replacement.
didn't
What
they
does
just
that mean?
shelve?
Like
They
a
just shelved.
puppeteer?
They just shelved Ray again. So that's
Yeah.
So
I
that's her
think
baby.
they saw Cleaner, and then they thought, "Fuck no,
we can't have her.
not
lead
gonna
a
do
movie."
that." Yeah.
And I dare to even think that Filoni would take over because he would be.
Oh,
He's
he
already
will.
in over his head.
It'd be
You know,
worse.
he's way in over his head already. Like he is.
Well, who else do you have?
Kevin
No one.
Feige will probably shift over to Star Wars. That's my guess.
Well, he's restarting the MCU with Doomsday. So I don't think he can. I think
He was
is
supposed to have
early.
a Star Wars movie, was Kevin Feige for a time, was attached to a potential Star Wars movie, and then the MCU went tits up, and so that was another one that never really saw the light of day. I don't even think it got very far into planning stages, even that was shelved quite early on. He's got too much on his plate. There's no way he can helm two franchises, and he's not done a good enough job showing that he can sustain the MCU, so there's no real incentive for that. Filoni's the obvious choice just because he's, for some reason, deemed to know what he's doing, which is insane to anyone who's watched it.
But Platoon, he brought back the Russo brothers. Then they're successful, right?
No,
Why
no.
does he wear? Sorry, I
Yeah,
say,
no, go
why
on.
does he keep wearing a fucking cowboy hat? And then
Because
he's got a
stupid.
lispy voice. He's like, "Oh my god, how unfair!"
He always
Well, he
looks
can't wear a
like
cowboy hat
permanently
with that voice.
stoned as well. He's just, he's everything about him is awful. I hate him. He's terrible. He's no good. All his characters suck. He can't write stories. And for George Lucas probably had Alzheimer's when he hired him, so it was just kind of elder abuse, and he's just made buck off that. Fuck off, Filoni.
We're getting the Filoni verse. Everything goes through him now.
Kathleen
I
Kennedy.
can't wait to see like 15,000 more things with Ahsoka Tano in them.
Oh,
Just like
God.
all the way through. He's got such a weird hard on for that weird orange alien.
Yeah, Kathleen Kennedy doesn't want to leave unless she has a hit or a winner with something. That's why she's hanging a bit. She doesn't want to go out with nothing.
But
Let's
she's
face
never
it.
going to.
Of course,
She doesn't
isn't.
have the talent, so she's just going to be there sucking on children's adrenochrome, staying alive. She'll be 300, and we still haven't got a good movie. Our descendants will be reviewing her shitty movies.
Oh,
Dear.
she's the worst
She
case of
can do
herpes
that,
you could
but-
ever get. She's just like she's always going to be there. Oh,
Terrible. They should have fired her immediately when she screwed up Star Wars.
She's
they
too
didn't.
powerful. She knows where the bodies are. She knows where the children go.
yeah, she knows a lot of dark stories there. I'm sure.
Yeah, well, KK.
Well, we did have more big news because this happened.
Oh, yay, Robert Downey Jr. Let's talk about his ego.
Yeah. So, in case you missed it, which I doubt anyone in this chat has, they did a casting announcement that took like 5 hours or more or something like that, and it was just revealing chairs with names on it. And
how pretentious.
Yeah. Well, there's something to it, because I think I read somewhere that like 250 million times it's been viewed across all platforms. So
why?
I know
275.
it's in stark contrast, though, to like how many people actually watched it, and then what seems like how many people are actually excited about it, because I think nostalgia fatigue is starting to set in. I made a video when I first started my channel saying, will you please just let Patrick Stewart die? Because he really just leave this man alone. But goddamn, he's back. A lot of the original X-Men cast are back. A lot of the faces you expect to actually be in the movie are being confirmed to be in it, and a few faces are missing. But I assume they're either going to be. They said they're not done announcing all the cast yet.
Which is insane.
Right.
It is insane that they are not done announcing the cast. Can you see how many chairs they've got? They go off over the fucking horizon. There's too many people in the movie. How can you do a movie with 1,000 stars in it?
It's 2 movies, isn't it? It's one and this is 1 and 2, isn't it?
Lord of the Rings didn't have this big of a cast.
No. But the thing is, though, what really pisses me off about this, what it is that they got that guy playing Shang-Chi in this movie, and Shang-Chi was absolute bollocks, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, he's not even the least recognizable character. I mean, you've got people like Ghost coming from the second Ant-Man movie that everyone forgets exists.
Who gives a
Haven't they spoiled the Thunderbolts? Because they've got everyone from the Thunderbolts except for Taskmaster.
So that probably means that's the only one who'll die, right? Is Taskmaster, everybody else survives.
Sentry's here, so Sentry doesn't die.
It's really crazy, isn't it? There's so many people in this film, and it's going to be shit. Everybody knows it's going to be shit.
Back?
Yes,
Loki's back as well. Like basically, it's everyone from anything that Marvel has done over the last 5 years, and because everybody hates most of what Marvel has done over the last 5 years, they've also brought back a bunch of 80-year-old men who did good X-Men films in the 1990s, just to give the movie a little bit of extra pizzazz. Because we can't be expected to get excited when we see that Joaquin Torres is coming back for this movie. Most people's response is, wait, who?
Yeah.
Isn't it too?
Are they going to de-age him?
Hasn't Wanda killed Patrick Stewart already?
No, that was in another universe.
An alternate one.
Yes,
it was a different one.
Yes.
So he's going to die again.
Can't wait to see M'Baku. M'Baku is going to be there. Can't wait to see that character.
Patrick Stewart, right? When they bring him back, all he's going to be is in the chair anyway. So he's not going to be like moving around or anything like that because he's so old. And they're going to de-age him. They're going to fix his voice, and then that'll be that.
I don't even know if they'll bother doing that because they haven't done it with anything he's been in recently. He's always sounded like his vocal cords have given up.
Yeah.
He is too old for this at this point.
Yes. But I reckon Marvel's going to do it. They're going to de-age him. Same thing with the guy who played Magneto. I can't remember his name now.
Ian McKellen, yeah. But it's interesting as well, though, because then you get into the difficult questions of, okay, so which timeline exactly have they come from? Because we already did resetting these X-Men. We did that in, is it Days of Future Past? Are we going from that storyline when a bunch of them are dead?
But
and then they created a different universe? Or is this a different universe where they didn't
die? It's connected to Fantastic Four. But it's connected to Fantastic Four because
they start filming like in a few days in April here, and they don't even have a script yet.
Yeah, it's due out this year, and they haven't finished the script yet.
They haven't even done the script now, and you got this cast. You got the Thunderbolts all there, and you're like, you haven't had that movie come out yet, and you're like, okay, I guess they all survive. Like that's you've taken away those stakes already. So it's
What's funny is that Channing Tatum was a terrible Gambit in the Deadpool movie who couldn't speak French properly, and now he's so is it the same Gambit in Deadpool and Wolverine?
It is.
So that Gambit left that movie, is now joining the X-Men in this movie, and his audition tape was Deadpool saying to him, "Why can't you speak French properly?"
Hey, Kelsey Grammer, He's all hip with the kids. Like he got him back for Beast.
It's just
Oh
going
yeah,
to
but
be
he'll
his
be
voice.
completely. Yeah, it'll be his voice. He'll be CG'd all the way. And then,
Yeah.
It's just going to be his voice. And I hear that in Fantastic Four, Mr. Fantastic discovers the multi-universe. So that's how they get into this. So do you know what I mean? So that's
it's
how
the
they
tricky
do
thing
it.
because like we discussed this on EFAP on Saturday about where this story could possibly be going. And so obviously Loki is in this, but Loki, as of the end of Loki season 2, is the thing basically holding all of time together,
He's a
right?
tree.
So
He's a tree.
the only way he can possibly be in this movie is either as a kind of projection of himself or across all of time and space, in which case he can turn up wherever, or as the kind of MacGuffin thing that is under threat that they have to get to, which would be my guess, is that like Doctor Doom discovers that this is what it is. He goes to try and kill Loki so he can destroy the fucking universe or whatever.
That's
and
what's
they have
going
to try
to
and stop
happen
him.
because
I
in the
think-
Secret Wars comic book, the 2015 one, Loki's just going to take the place of I can't remember his name, but there's a character that essentially is doing that. A Molecule Man, I believe. He's basically holding everything together. Doctor Doom discovers, whatever, like the multiverse. And he understands that like cataclysms are going to happen, so he creates Battle World, and that's where Secret Wars is going to pop in. So this is just the lead in to Secret Wars. All the characters from the multiverses are going to exist in their worlds, and at the end, Doctor Doom's going to bring them all together. And the only thing that's going to exist, like there will be no multiverse, only Battle World will exist. And that's like I said, Loki's going to take place of Molecule Man. So that's exactly like count it and a foul. That's what's going to happen.
It could be even lazier. It could just be he just shows up to Chris Hemsworth and goes, "I need your help," and there's no explanation.
But is
Just an
Robbie Downey
excuse to get
Jr. going
foreign.
to have his face as Doctor Doom though? Or are they going to put like makeup on him so you don't see Robbie Downey
No,
Jr.
I mean this has come up with like you don't cast Robert Downey Jr. if he's not going to show his face. Like he's
Don't pay him
the mask
$90
is going to be coming off after 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all about his ego. He's writing everything about Doom. He's taken over. He's
Is
doing
he?
the character. Oh yeah, he's doing costume design. He's writing what Doctor Doom should be doing. Oh yeah, that's been.
This
the
sounds
Russos
really
are bragging.
bad.
The Russos have been bragging about that. Oh, Robert Downey Jr. He's writing all the lines, writing everything. He's taking
What has
full
he
control.
actually written that's good?
Robbie
don't know.
Downey? Nothing. Well, technically he's really good at ad-libbing, so
So the whole movie.
be ad-lib.
It's just quips and shit.
Yeah.
The entire movie.
All these characters that they're bringing into the Secret Wars or Doomsday, or all this, they're characters that no one gives a shit about.
Yes.
They're B and C level characters.
Yeah.
No one, like, who are you excited to see?
Well, that is why the hope is that lots of them are just there as cannon fodder so they can be killed. Because there's one way of very, very quickly establishing how big and bad your big bad guy is that you have him kill and beat a load of people you vaguely recognize, people at least that you're told are heroes. Think like Thanos' introduction in Infinity War when he beats the two so-called strongest Avengers in Hulk and in Thor. It's the first time we properly see him do anything. So you immediately know this is a guy to be reckoned with. This is probably wish thinking on my part, but it would be lovely if they are bringing back all these people from like Thunderbolts and Captain America 4 who everyone either doesn't know or doesn't like, and he just kills them to show how bad he is. Then I'll like him because he's destroyed lots of stupid characters.
I would love to believe that, but Marvel's really pushing Kamala Khan in the books. Like they're making her the messiah of the Uncanny X-Men now. Like they're pushing her to be the first mutant ever, and so she's not going to die. And all the Thunderbolts, if you go into comic shops, it's like they're pushing all these books, all these characters, Shang-Chi, everything. So I'd like to believe they would kill him off. That would be my wet dream. Like it'd be great, but that's not going to happen.
But isn't Monica Rambeau the key to everything? Because at the end of the Marvels, she shows up and meets the Beast from X-Men.
Yeah.
So is she gonna be one of the not revealed people? She's the linchpin.
Oh, and she gets this like heroic introduction, and the entire audience is just sitting there confused.
Who the fuck is she?
Yep.
But it's true
It
though,
is.
because how long ago was the Endgame, and how long ago was the first
6 years
Avengers
ago.
movie?
Yeah, it's
And how old are the
2019,
kids
right?
that watch that? How old are they now? And are they still interested? Kids who haven't seen them
Well,
originally, are
drawing
they
in all
interested
the
this stuff?
X-Men from the Fox era is
Mm.
clearly a sign that they're trying to draw in us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so interesting that the primary Avengers, like, juxtapose this with the other Avengers movies where we were really excited to see these characters we watched in their own movies come together. And now what it is it's obligatory that you actually have to take the current Avengers like Shang-Chi and Captain Marvel and all this shit and put them together, because we don't care about those characters at all. We do not like them. So they bring in all these other people to draw in the core audience, which is people our age.
I mean, it is an admission of the most staggering failure is that you've had since Endgame in 2019, you've had basically 500 movies, and none of the characters you've introduced, none of the characters you call Captain America or Captain Marvel have enough to sustain their own movie or anchor an Avengers film. That's why they have to go back to the 90s to find people who are popular, because they've done nothing. They've completely failed to recapture anything that they used to have, and so that they have to have this support.
The whole reason, like, we watched Endgame is because they all linked together. They had a story Bible. Like, what's linking any of these characters to what they're putting out? Nothing.
Well,
You're
that's
just
the
throwing,
other. Yeah, it's another interesting point, right? None of these we've not met the villain yet. None of the characters have an established relationship with the villain yet. Fantastic Four might change it, but given he's probably only appearing in like a post-credit scene, I would be surprised if there's a huge amount about him in that film. None of these characters know each other either. So what are they going to speak to each other about? You don't get any of the relationships that you had throughout phases 1 through 3. You know, Tony and Steve's
Captain
rivalry,
America.
which then forms like a conflict of vision. So there's always a conversation to be had and a rivalry and a kind of mutual respect that grows. They have a relationship from the beginning. There's no established relationships with anyone in this movie. So everything has to start from scratch, which will be incredibly difficult to do when you have 1,000 people to introduce. How do you do that?
I think what they're going to do is the Infinity War style, where they broke off a bunch of people into groups and we just followed each group and we bounced back and forth. That's probably like what their plan is. So you're going to follow the X-Men, you're going to follow the Fantastic Four, and you're going to follow the Temu Avengers around. and then they'll, mash together at the end, I imagine.
It is kind of what they did with Infinity War, right? In the sense that they sort of pick groups to give most of the screen time to. Not everybody has equal screen time, but they identify the characters and the combinations of characters whose storylines we see the film through. So you get Thor and the Guardians on the one hand, you've got Tony and the rest on the other hand, going down to Titan, and then so they have a record of being able to pull this kind of thing off. But even that, I'd say, is on a smaller scale than what this movie's setting out to be.
Totally,
that was culmination of a story as opposed to beginning of a story, and it didn't have as many people in it, for one thing.
It is in fact Temu. I was corrected by Temu once that it is actually Temu, not Timu.
Well, fuck it, they're Chinese. It's Timu. It's Peking, not Beijing. While we're at it as well.
The way they advertised this though was weird by putting one chair out for an hour or some nonsense like that. It was just silly.
Yep. It was a really weird marketing strategy, which is like get excited about names on the back of chairs, empty chairs.
I don't know who does the marketing for Disney right now, but you need to fire him. You need to fire all of them, because it's everything they're doing. Even DC, that Superman, it just, when you watch that, the editing for that, it's just like, you need to fire these people because it just falls flat.
Well, how much do you think it'll cost just for the cast? Because Robbie Downey Jr. is like 90 million alone.
It's so crazy. This movie, I would assume they're going to spend well over $1 billion to produce these two films.
Do you think they're expecting profit, or do you think they go, this is just a necessary cost we have to do to reset everything?
No one gives a fuck. No one gives a fuck about Fantastic Four. No one's going to watch that movie.
Yeah,
you got
that's going to
Sue
be an
Storm.
interesting thing.
You got Sue Storm. That's the lead of that movie, and everyone's going to be like, "No, thanks." And that's going to set up a massive failure for the MCU going forward. I think people are just done with the MCU in general. And then when you introduce this cast, it's just.
I don't think people are done with the MCU because look at Deadpool and Wolverine, that made like 1.3 billion on its own. So that's probably what they looked at, and they were like, okay, well, we can probably make more than that if just bringing Hugh Jackman back did it. The thing is with that movie, though, it was actually well received. So that helped it leg out, and that helped it make 1.3 billion. These do have to be really good, and I don't know how they can, because it's just the ultimate nostalgia machine.
But look at the marketing. Look at the marketing for Deadpool Wolverine. Like, you had Ryan Reynolds doing what he does. He does that in every freaking film. He's just doing Deadpool. And then you add Hugh Jackman, which is a nostalgia bait, because everyone loves Hugh Jackman coming off of Logan, who he said he's never going to do Wolverine again. And then he comes back and they riff off each other, and people are just like, awesome.
Yeah, it was almost, it wasn't, it doesn't, you're right. I mean, it's not really a Marvel film. It's a film about Marvel. But some of the most successful jokes in that film are taking the piss out of the thing that Avengers Doomsday is trying to be. And to be fair, I don't even know how well Deadpool Wolverine has held up over time. It did incredibly well at the box office. I wasn't particularly impressed by it. In fact, I go so far as to say I didn't really like it very much. Lots of people did, and that's fair enough. I think some of the jokes were very funny. I don't hear a number of people these days talking about how amazing that was. It was kind of a one-off. Isn't it funny we get to all take the piss out of how bad the thing we used to like has become? You can't do that in Avengers Doomsday. It's a very, very different proposition. One of those things is meta and one of them is not. And I do wonder whether like another Deadpool Wolverine even would do as well as that movie did, because it's kind of tried and tested and played out at this point. Doomsday is like kind of the last gasp, unless this does somehow manage to recapture everyone's interest. And as they said they're going to do, make it a beginning story that everyone gets invested in again. It's fucked. There's not really any coming back. This is it. This is the last gasp. It's why they're spending so much money. It's why they've got all these people, all the big name actors coming back. If it doesn't work, it's over.
Yeah, I agree.
And this comes out this year.
Yeah, I mean, somehow, I don't understand how, if they haven't got a script and they haven't even started filming, I don't understand how it can come out.
They don't even have their cast. They don't even have their cast yet.
Is it going to be like no CGI? We're just going to watch them like do the hand poses and nothing happens.
Is it? Do you think, right, Little Platoon? Do you reckon it's because do they uphold to the turn of the tax year thing, where they have to get something out before the turn of the tax year? Do you think that's why they haven't got a script and that's why they're rushing it?
I don't think so. Just because they're not strapped for movies to release. I mean, they didn't release many last year. There are more Marvel movies releasing this year, and that we just had one. We've got the Thunderbolts, we've got and Fantastic Four all coming out this same year. I don't think they're particularly pressed to do that. I think that this is kind of a panicky last-minute rearrangement, because this was supposed to be where the Kang movie was going to be. And they realize that, they are currently spiraling toward nothing with all of these diminishing returns. It is time for a complete reset. We have to do it as quickly as possible if we're to salvage anything from this project. So I think they're probably more concerned about letting it die so it's unsalvageable. That's why they're rushing it.
Well, yeah, why rush it, though? If that's the case, then why don't they take their time and make sure they've got a solid script before they start casting?
Well, because Star Wars sucks. They only have one franchise, which is the MCU. Star Wars offers no money.
They call it the Marvel way.
It's stupid, though, isn't it? It's really, it's if you're going to be shooting and writing at the same time, it's going to be ridiculous. There's going to be no structure. There's going to be no payoff. It's crazy,
mess, and it's going to be fun.
Well, you're taking the biggest villain in MCU history, Marvel history, excuse me, because he hasn't been in the MCU yet. And where you took Thanos and peppered him throughout all of phase 1, 2 until you got to the end of 3, they're just immediately diving right in with him and need to make him the biggest villain in all of the MCU so far. And they're going to do it in 2 movies.
And not only that, you're not even going to have that dynamic between him and Reed Richards.
Yeah.
Right.
Which
You have no Doctor Doom
Yeah,
lead build up at all.
Yeah.
Unless
Which is
somehow in
necessary.
Fantastic Four you find a way to have Reed Richards talk about him without him ever being on screen. That like mention him by remove is kind of the only way I can see them doing it. But they've got
He's gonna cook
Galactus to
him.
deal with, so
That's what's gonna
Yeah.
happen. He stole Sue Storm from him.
Yeah.
He's just a
Well-
big cook, and then he put on a big night clothes. That's it. He wears the night mask because he's a simp.
Oh, just because there is a correction in chat. I think this movie is it May next year. I thought it was this year. I'm probably completely wrong about
Yeah,
that.
it is.
Yeah, this
It's
is
Numbers also
2020.
May next year. Okay,
Yeah.
it's still
That's
not a huge
fast.
amount of time.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's
to go
really
from writing your entire script to filming it to releasing it within little more than 12 months.
A movie this effects heavy. Can you all the complaints about the effects houses being overworked over the last few years, and they're like, "Well, fuck you."
They'll just use like weaker concentration camps in China to do it all. That's what they'll do.
Well, they'll probably be using AI this time round to do a lot of the effects. That's probably what they'll do.
Oh,
To,
wow.
Does that even account for reshoots?
Right. What if they have to reshoot things?
I don't know. I don't
Oh,
know.
they
Yeah.
will.
It sounds like a really terrible plan. Before you start even casting people, before you even start getting a director, you should have a solid script. And then
You know, they
look
should
for the
do.
red-
They should do The Last Samurai, where Doom is on a hill with the minigun and he's just mowing down the Avengers. It's like a super sad scene where Charles Xavier's chair gets stuck in the mud and he can't move, and he just shoots him like a dog.
I do have to get going.
right,
It was
no worries.
awesome hanging out with you guys. Good times. Everyone take care.
All
Good
right.
to
thank
see you.
guys.
Do you want to
thanks
tell us
for
before you head
being
off
here,
what's
guys.
coming up for you, where we can find you, what we should look out for?
You can catch me at Diabolical Souls Presents. I will be doing solo leveling episodes 3 and 4 tomorrow night. And if you haven't watched it, watch it. It's one of the best anime.
What do you think of the main character in that show?
It's phenomenal. I love it. I love the character
What do you
development.
think of him, though? Do you think he's a bit of an asshole?
Yes, but I love it. So,
For those of you who don't know, what he does is people are getting murdered, and he just stands there monologuing, going, "Oh, I should save them, but I don't want people to know my identity." And like people are being like brutally murdered, and he
it's
always
great.
does
It's great. It's great. It's great.
But he keeps doing it, even in the newest episode when everyone
Yeah.
knows who he is. He goes, "Ah, I should save that island full of people, but I want to spend time with my mother." He's just an asshole.
Wednesday, I don't know what I'm doing on Wednesday. I know Thursday, I am probably just going to do a birthday stream. It's my birthday on Thursday, so I'll probably do a birthday stream.
Happy
Happy
birthday in
birthday.
advance.
Birthday,
Yeah,
man.
if you guys are around, swing on by. And then, of course, late night with Gooch and Gang. Always a fun time on there. And yes, the chat, you guys are awesome. I appreciate you guys joining us and torturing me, making me go to these horrible movies and doing these things. But yeah, lots of fun. I'll be around. I'll be doing streams. I'm going to take off right now, but love hanging out with you guys. You guys take care. Have a great week. And Cynic, I'll see you in Vegas.
Yeah, that sounds good, man. We'll see you there.
Yes. All right. Take care, everyone.
See you
Ta-ra.
later.
Bye.
And there were 4.
I'm gonna meet Gooch in
God
real
he's-
life. He's gonna be in
Let's slag
Vegas
him
at the
off.
same time I'm gonna be in Vegas, so
Ah.
might as well link up.
Let's call him
we'll
a
get
prick,
a
now
picture
he's
for
gone.
reality. Yeah, bastard.
Oh god, Doomsday's going to be crap. Everybody knows it.
Yeah, it'd be fun though. It'd be like watching a car crash, and you know you can't stop it, so you might as well just enjoy it.
Yeah, you know how like before Deadpool and Wolverine came out, we kind of all agreed, we're like, they're not gonna fuck this up. Like this will probably just be a well-received movie. And then it was. Well, I kind of have a bad feeling about Doomsday.
Mhm.
Yeah, I have a feeling that they're not going to pull this one off.
Well, they've
I don't
got a grand total of 2 more movies before it comes out, right? Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
I think after Fantastic Four will be a good read on whether there's any
Agreed.
cause to be optimistic.
Yes.
Yeah,
And how can we forget the most important Marvel product of all is also coming out before then, which is Ironheart. That's coming out.
yes.
Is she? Have you noticed none of the Marvel TV shows, any of the actors are in this? Moon Knight,
Yeah.
Ironheart. It's like those things never existed.
And you wonder about that. because another post-credit scene for the Marvels, right, is Kamala Khan is creating the Young Avengers. She bumps into Kate Bishop. Kate Bishop, I think most of the Young Avengers are in that allegedly leaked concept art, which the Russos have said isn't real, but other people have said is real, obviously. So they're all in it. So it's either they haven't been announced yet, or they are rowing very quickly away from that idea because nobody watches the sequel. Or they're in the sequel.
Warworld. Wiccan is it leading them?
Well, that'll be encouraging though, because then at least we get one movie where we just get a load of massacred children. That'll be fun to watch.
Oh yeah, you just see Kate Bishop. She's got one arm, and she goes, "Doom killed all of them."
I mean, I used to read Fantastic Four when I was younger, but it's hard for me to believe that someone like Doom, who isn't a superhuman, he's just a human, right?
No.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
He has superpowers.
Does he? How?
Yep.
How? What, for his suit?
Yeah, I don't remember specifically, to be honest with you. I know he's not just a guy.
Yeah, he's like a sorcerer. He can.
Thank you. He's
also
like
a wizard.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I did not know that because the comics I read.
He's like a mix of Mr. Fantastic and Doctor Strange.
Oh, so when did this happen? Because when I used to read it in the 70s, he was just a guy in a mask that was really vengeful. When did this happen?
I don't know. As long as I've known it, so like decades at this point. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Did not know that.
Yep.
Interesting.
You stand corrected, sir.
I do. Sit corrected. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. No, I look forward to seeing what they're going to do with Doom then.
And I'll just reiterate too, there is a really good comic book run of Fantastic Four out there that I hope they do follow, which was it seems like they may, and that was Jonathan Hickman's run in the 2010s. I think it came out around like 2012, maybe something like that. And that made me realize that Doom is the greatest villain in I want to say MCU every time I refer to Marvel. In Marvel, Doctor Doom is the greatest villain.
So that was the 2000s. You see, I used to read it when Kirby used to draw them.
Yeah.
And so he was just an ordinary guy with a mask and very upset with Mr. Fantastic. That's all I remember. I don't remember him being a wizard.
Do you think the big twist will be that he's not a doctor?
Yeah, it's just called Doom.
Mr. Doom, actually.
Mr. Doom. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Doom uses magic and his suit's like Iron Man's.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know his suit's like Iron Man's, definitely, because that was in the Kirby run. But the wizard thing's a new one on me. So
I suppose the interesting question, though, like if he is this good a villain, does that mean that potentially these two movies won't end him? As in, like, we'll see more of him after Secret Wars.
What are you gonna do though? Because you'd have to bring RDJ back every time at $100 million a pop.
Do we know how many movies he signed on for? Did he just sign on for these two?
90 million for two.
Yeah.
Jesus, it's a good job if you can get it.
Yeah.
Hell of a tax though.
When you live in California.
I'm sure he's like legally domiciled in the Cayman Islands or something like that. There'll be a way of avoiding it.
Yeah.
But the reason I ask is because, if he's so good, it seems almost like a waste to have the best villain in Marvel for just two movies, because by definition, then anything you do next is going to be a bit of a downgrade, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you can just do what they did with Loki and just have like 500 Dooms. All variants. We got Midget Doom.
Midget Doom.
I'd said it's going to be interesting to see what they do with this movie, but I don't really hold any hope for it. It sounds like a nightmare to actually make. There's probably going to be too many bosses, too many cooks spoiling the pot instead of just leaving it to.
I still think it's strange how Channing Tatum from Daredevil and Wolverine, where everyone made fun of the fact he couldn't speak French, got the role as Gambit seriously for this movie.
I think it was just because they misunderstood why that was popular. Because if he hadn't appeared in Deadpool and Wolverine, he wouldn't be in this movie. But he came and everyone was like, "Oh, we remember him fondly because it was funny." So they thought, well, he must be a popular character. It's like when they memed Morbius into the cinema twice. They've memed the character into a like $150 billion movie.
But
it's
Deadpool
crazy.
keeps
They're
saying, "Who the fuck is your linguist coach? Can he get your money back?"
Yeah.
It's like they didn't understand that we liked it because it was awful.
Do you think he will still have the bad French accent when no one can understand them? He's
I
like
hope
Kenny.
so.
Yeah, I hope so too. Well, he was originally supposed to play Gambit like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
In a spin-off movie, and that just never got off the ground. So it was like it was supposed to be cool to see him, a little Easter egg to see him actually playing the character. And then he was playing it like a corny fucking joke. And we're like, oh, well, we like it for that reason. And they just completely misinterpreted why we liked it.
Another thing, we said what before, that Wanda killed Patrick Stewart. That was a different Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
Didn't all the X-Men die in Logan?
Yes.
Yeah, but that's
They were
different.
all dead.
But isn't that different, or is that in the future?
That was after Days of Future Past. That was the new timeline.
Right,
And
gotcha. Yeah.
Logan's clone stabs him through the heart.
Do you think Patrick Stewart will die again?
Well, he might die in real life.
It's almost like Kenny in South Park at this point.
Oh my God, they killed Patrick.
You bastard.
Oh, no.
Oh, if he dies, that is definitely going in a video.
Died in
That's got to be there.
Didn't he? He got resurrected.
He did,
in
yeah.
Picard.
They're gonna de-age him. I know they're gonna do it. There's no. I mean, it's gonna be stupid if they roll him out the way he is now. It's just not gonna work. How is it gonna work? His voice is awful. Did you not see him in a
bad
film? It's awful. Last TV show was, yeah.
We're gonna save all the super chats till the end, but this one does seem really pertinent.
Okay.
Definitely not a Gator says Cajun here. That is how some Cajun people talk. Just look up the Swamp People show.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Yeah, just so FYI, guys. We see all your super chats and we'll get to them at the end, like we usually do. But I normally see some people ask like why we're not reading them. I'm producing the show and I'm all by myself, so I'm just gonna do it at the end when our conversation's over.
What happened to your producer?
What's that?
What happened to your producer?
Well, he's still around because he makes all my videos.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Isn't that Bagface?
Yeah, we're 0 for 2 on producers, unfortunately.
You can't get the staff these days, honestly.
Just can't do it. Just can't do it. Yep.
It's gonna be a lawsuit coming soon, isn't it?
What else was on the docket here? Let's see.
Oh,
well,
no.
I don't know if anyone's interested in this, but they did reveal the poster. No. Okay.
No.
They did reveal the poster for Wicked Part 2.
I didn't even see the first one.
I haven't either.
And I have no intention. Is it really? I'm still not going to watch it. You'd have to pay me significantly to watch that.
That's how I feel about it too. Like you would have to pay me to watch this movie, even though it's on Peacock now. I can watch it for free.
The only thing I noticed was Ben Shapiro really got into it and revealed that he was pretty gay. Because he was going, he just kept going, this musical score is the best, and I think she just needs to do a bit longer. And I'm like, fucking hell, he really loves this film.
I don't want to see this. I have no interest in this.
The most I've taken away from it is just how memeable the woman, Cynthia Erivo, is that her name?
That's the one.
Yeah, how memeable she is.
She is pretty good for memes. That is true.
Like they both look like goblins from Ozempic.
Yeah.
I think Ariana Grande is lining up the role of Gollum in the new Lord of the Rings movie, I think is what she's going for there. So she's got to be as emaciated as possible for that. Do we know how the part 1 did? Did it make money? I'm assuming it made money. People have no taste.
It did, but it didn't make what Dark Hour was saying. He was like adamant it was going to make $1 billion. It did not. I think it made like 744
million worldwide.
Am I the only one that finds these two creepy?
They are.
No, I think most of the internet these days finds them creepy. They are really weird people.
They're weird looking. They're weirdly obsessed with each other. They act pretentious and just extremely odd. So
They're all crying as well.
Yeah, they're always crying. Ariana Grande seems like she's having a fucking mental breakdown.
She never used to look like that, though. She used to look okay.
You know,
and
it's
then now
strange.
she's really thin, and I don't know
she's more weird and crying here. But when the Manchester Arena bombing went off, she was perfectly fine.
I think Amelia might have it here.
For her health and a terrorist attack.
They're doing it because they're fucking hungry. It's probably true.
But when they're together, they're even more creepier, aren't they? When they've been interviewed, they're holding hands, and it's just really creepy for some reason.
I think they're about to merge into one person.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Some fucking grotesque monster.
I'm not
feel
going to
like
watch this.
The way they talk about the film too, they feel like they're doing God's work or something.
Yeah, that's what's
So
creepy
odd.
about it. Really creepy.
So we're all looking forward to this then. Yeah. Okay.
No.
Got it. Yeah.
Isn't it like isn't the stage play like 3 hours and they've just
the stage play is as long as the first movie was, and it's actually pretty good. Yeah.
So we've just got a bloated double movie.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Wicked was like the first of one of those deconstructing the villains stories. And so it set the precedent for all of those obnoxious things you see, which I think ended up, then you're deconstructing the hero and you get what happened to Luke Skywalker and blah, blah, blah. You can kind of, 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon get to all those things based on Wicked's creation, which is unfortunate.
Does she still die when someone throws a tiny amount of water on her?
Does
she just melt painfully?
Yes. Well, somebody should throw some water on her soon. That's all I can say.
So she's now a really nice character that gets brutally murdered by in the films.
I don't know. Doesn't it start? Somebody wrote a book, didn't they? And then they made it into a play. Is that how it started?
Yeah, it was originally a book.
Yeah.
Shit, didn't they even do one on like Beowulf too about Grendel?
Don't know.
This created all kinds of problems. This story.
I had no interest in seeing this at all.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be seeing either parts of these. This will be like Lost was, or Game of Thrones. I haven't watched a single second of Game of Thrones, and I think
how did you avoid it?
With everyone just talking about it, and I was like, you know what, fuck that show.
Really? I watched the first 3 episodes, and that was enough for me. Seriously, I actually watched the first episode in a cinema with the actual stars. It was at BAFTA, and they had the producer come on stage and stuff like that. So I watched it with them, but I just thought to myself, this is whatever, and it didn't really capture my imagination at all. None of it. Yeah.
Not even with all the tits, all the exposition scenes that had tits just jiggling around on the screen to keep the male attention.
Well,
very cynical maneuver that it was.
Well, before the first episode started, the producer came on stage to apologize for something that was going to happen in that episode. And you know what he was apologizing for? And this is just nothing today, is when they pushed the kid through the window. They pushed
that
the
is
kid
one
off
of the
thing.
tamest things that happens in Game of Thrones. There's nothing to apologize for there.
That's what he was apologizing for, apparently. So, which I thought was weird, but there you go.
Cynic, were you happy when season 8 happened and everyone was miserable?
Yes, I was. I was like, good. I'm glad I never watched it. Wasted my fucking time, and you get that result. Good.
Every single one of us was pissed off.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I heard about that too, because I've heard all about the show. So
yeah.
You know what's funny though is the inside of the episodes, which they tried to explain it, was so much worse. Because what was that? Danny kind of forgot about the Iron Fleet. That was literally one of the creators of the show saying that. She somehow forgot.
I guess she kind of forgot. Absolute
It
shambles.
was so bad. They took down inside the last episode, so people couldn't even make fun of it. The behind the scenes. Oh, that was fun. That was a fun
It really
time.
was, yeah. Because I wasn't even on the internet really at the time, but I remember when it came out, lying in bed in the pitch black on my phone because I was on the boat, so I didn't have a TV at the time. Trying to watch it on my phone, and having to go in and turning the brightness of my phone all the way up to max, even in a pitch black room, to try and see what the fuck was going on. And it didn't make it any better because actually seeing what was going on made everything worse.
And then Bran became king. Tyrion
Oh my
said,
god, that
who's got
yeah.
the best story than Bran? And everyone literally said anyone else but
Literally
Bran.
anybody else
They
except Bran.
skipped him for a season. He was not even in one of the seasons. That's how irrelevant he was.
Did Sean Bean get killed then, as he always
Yes,
does?
that was back in
yeah.
season one, though. That was like
Okay.
that wasn't the first
All
big
right.
sort of twisty moments in it.
Yeah.
Okay. Has there been a film he survived in?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. He
There
gets
must have
killed in
been
everything.
one, but I'm drawing blanks. Everything one I can think of, he dies.
He dies in James Bond. He dies in Lord of
no,
the Rings.
no,
he
there is
died
one.
in Game of Thrones.
There is one. Oh God, I've got that. What
Troy?
it's called now? No,
He didn't die in Troy, did he?
Ronin. He doesn't die in Ronin. He gets dismissed, but he doesn't die. There you go. You ever see Ronin?
Aren't there
killed himself
montages
afterwards.
out there of him dying in movies? There's got to be.
There's one where he gets run off a cliff by sheep.
Really?
He gets stampeded by sheep.
Troy, Silent Hill. Oh, he was in Silent Hill.
Yeah, he got killed in that.
Jesus.
He was Odysseus and Troy. Oh yeah, he puts the coins in Achilles' face at the end.
He got killed in Lord of the Rings, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's his most famous death.
Yep. My king.
Sean Bean.
Yep.
God, that Game of Thrones. Oh, I'm just on PTSD where she just starts mowing down the entire street. Just why?
Absolute psychopathy because her assistant died. And that was it. That's gonna tip her over the edge. Her assistant got lobbed off the walls, so it's time to commit genocide. And yes, also my nephew won't fuck me. Modern women problems is what it is.
And then she goes, "We're going to take over the world," like she's Hitler. I'm like,
I only watched
and then the
three
dragon
episodes,
gets really
nothing.
angry because Jon Snow stabs her, but then rather than killing him, it just burns the throne symbolically because the dragon understands what the Iron Throne represents. We have to melt the throne.
The script, I looked into it, it said the dragon didn't know what the throne represented. It just shot in that direction. It accidentally, symbolically destroyed it.
The only thing I heard from this thing is that Jon Snow had died and then they brought him back. Is that true?
That is
I
true.
never watched
Yes,
it.
that does happen.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
But then the funny thing is that they go to all that trouble and they bring him back, and then he just ceases to be Jon Snow. He's not the same character, and his ending is pathetic. So they go to all the trouble of bringing him back, and he accomplishes nothing. He just turns into a simp, and that's it. So it's like, why even fucking bother at that point?
Yeah, he has two lines, which is "You're my queen" or "I don't want it."
Yeah, that's just the two lines of dialogue all the way through.
Be the king, I don't want it. That's all he does.
She's my
Varys
queen.
was a fucking idiot. Littlefinger was a fucking idiot. Like the two smartest. Tyrion was a fucking idiot. The three geniuses became the biggest retards on the planet.
That was because like the old problem was that all the characters you liked got killed, but at least it kind of made some dramatic sense. But then later on, it was all the characters you liked get assassinated by the writers, which is a different problem to have, and it makes everything not worth watching.
Brutally assassinated. Jaime Lannister gets crushed by rocks.
Well, that was the thing, though, wasn't it? That even started in The Walking Dead, where they started killing off characters that you liked isn't it? That was the new thing, wasn't it? At that moment in time.
Well, yes and no. I mean, it's been going on for ages. Like, there are older shows that do it. Game of Thrones did it probably most successfully of anything, because you get episodes like The Red Wedding where all of the characters, like an entire team of characters, basically you've been with for the 3 odd seasons it's been running, that everybody actually likes and wants to succeed, get brutally massacred, which was just quite groundbreaking for a TV show of that scope and scale to accomplish. But the key difference though is that they made narrative sense, that they weren't just there to shock you. But by the end, it was the complete opposite problem. Just people just randomly die, and if they don't die, they just get turned into retards, and then it's horrible.
Right. Okay.
It was so funny. The others, when you look at the entire map of Westeros, they basically got an inch into it and died. The first major city the White Walkers came across, they lost.
Because fucking Arya teleports out of nowhere to kill a thing she doesn't even know exists until 2 episodes prior to this. And then after she gets plowed by Gendry, which nobody wanted to see. So great decisions all around.
Man, I really want to watch this now.
Screams at a dragon going, no, to a dragon.
It's the really annoying thing, because I stuck it on again, just like a rewatch, because I like having stuff on in the background. So I stuck it all on like a few months ago. And thinking, oh god, yeah, I remember how good this used to be. And then you get to sort of end of season 3 into season 4, and it starts to slip. And then I could commit to this, and it's many hours of my life that are a complete waste. But I've started, and I've got so far in, I've got to see it through.
I just fucking. You know what's funny? When Theon charges the Night King pointlessly and dies, Bran could have just told him, listen, wait here a second, it's about to go.
He's like, he exits and say, you're a good man, Theon.
Kill yourself, Theon. Fucking die, Theon, you prick.
Me and Movie Cynic are just like lost here. We're just lost.
Well, it's certainly not selling me on the fucking show. I can tell you that.
Bran knew all of that was going to happen. He goes, Bran should be king. And he goes, why do you think I'm here? And I was half expecting him to do a really evil smirk. He did nothing. Becomes king, lets everyone around him die. And then what does Sansa do? Sansa goes, can I separate from the 7 kingdoms? And he goes, yeah, okay. Just no problem. Open rebellion.
I'd like to say it'll be worth revisiting once George R.R. Martin publishes the way the story was supposed to go, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. Like, I started reading all of this because I'd never read them before, so like, I think I thought, well, if I start right from the beginning, so the prequel thing, is it the Fire and Blood or whatever it's called, and I go in order chronologically, everything, maybe by the time I finished everything he's ever written, he might have written another sentence of his book. I don't think he has yet, and I'm already up to book 3, so it's not going well.
So like I said, for him, Winds of Winter, I think he's wanted to do who's the guy who died, Wheel of Time? Robert Jordan.
Oh, yeah.
I think he wants to go with the Bryan Sanderson situation, which is he dies and then someone else comes in and fixes the books. I think that's his plan.
Maybe, but he'll sue you if you try it now. He sued that guy who completed it with AI. So it's like you've got to wait for him to die before you're allowed to finish the book that he can't be bothered to write.
Isn't it? What's the next? You got House of the Dragon. Then you've got, was it A Knight of 7 Kingdoms?
Knight of the 7 Kingdoms, which I actually really like that book, or those little stories within the couple of books I think that there are, which they're quite charming. They're not what you normally associate with Game of Thrones. They're quite optimistic and cheerful for the most part. So I'm kind of looking forward to them. It's just that I know that they'll be delaying the publication of the main story again.
Well, the thing is, though, I think he said he's excited for Knight of the 7 Kingdoms because it's the one where everyone kind of looks like how they're supposed to. Whereas House of the Dragon, he's wrote some notes going, don't know about this, don't know about that.
Oh no, he published a whole blog post saying, yeah, you got to beware because some bad shit's going to happen and I don't like it. And then they made him delete the blog.
You can tell which show he fucking hates.
Okay, right. So let me ask you a question, right? So when they decided to kill off all the characters in this show, was that according to the novels that was written, or did they just make it up as they went along?
No, certainly for the first 4 seasons, maybe even 5 seasons worth of character deaths are all pretty much drawn from the book, so that they're not just making it up. There actually are like narrative reasons for it all to happen. It is the way the story is supposed to work.
Right.
It's only later, once they run out of book material, really, from kind of, even actually, to be fair, they start running out like midway through season 3, I think. They're still mostly on track, but they start adding more and bits, and then 4 gets worse, and 5 gets worse, 6 gets worse, 7 gets worse, and then 8's the worst of all because they have nothing to go with. That's when they start making shit up, and they can't write their own stuff, which is why on the back of their success with the early seasons, everyone wanted them, and Kathleen Kennedy said, here, have a Star Wars trilogy, like everyone gets these days. And then they fucked Game of Thrones, and then she said, nah, I'm going to take that back. We don't want you to do a Star Wars trilogy. Go off to Netflix and do the 3-body problem or whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah.
That was shit. I watched that.
What's
You
that
know the
called?
show, The 3-Body Problem? It's
Oh,
a stupid show about aliens, but the problem is they run into the same problem all these type of shows do, which is the aliens are so overpowered that we have to make them retarded in order for humans to win. They can they have this like particle computer that can destroy all technology on Earth.
Well,
So
they've won then. They've won then, right?
and then like it can also listen to every plan humanity has. So if you talk to someone, write it down, they can spy. So humanity's plan is to have 3 people come up with invasion level organizations in their heads and then just go with it.
Yeah, and the idea is that, because they're not going to plan it with a team of people. They have to come up with the
In your
entire
head.
thing on their own. But it doesn't work because they're given complete authority to enact their plans. But you'd think, like, aliens who can mind read, surely they can just listen to what you're telling people to do and work out what your plan is. That doesn't make it any better.
But it's not. But the problem is they kind of contradict themselves because they go like they're not going to be here for 400 years, so we need to freeze them, which we've already established that they can interfere with technology, so it wouldn't work.
Sounds like a bad show.
And then like there's one point where the aliens have got a death cult, but then the aliens go to him, oh, can you humans lie? And they go, yeah. And then he go, and then he just abandon the death cult. And it's like, how do you not know they can lie? It's so fucking stupid. They can cast planet-wide illusions, like the entire sky around the planet. They can make you see whatever. They can go into your eye and make you see numbers. That is how powerful they are.
Well,
And
then
then
the humans have lost then if they have all that
It is
power.
very hard to see how the humans win, but like I guess we have to wait till season 2 to discover
humans
what's going on there.
They go, right, aliens are coming here to kill us all. So what's our plan? I know, we'll send them a human brain. That's
Send-
actually
They take like a guy who's
Weird.
dying of like a terminal disease and they stick him in a space pod and then they shoot him through the galaxy to intercept the fleet, right?
But he's not
And
big
then-
enough. So they have to send his brain to them. And they go, what do you think that's going to do? And they go, I don't know. We hope it'll work. He went, you've just given them a tissue sample of humanity to like test fucking viruses on.
Yeah. I have heard a few people in the chat say like the books are actually way better than this, and I can fully believe it. But I've not read those yet. But
Like
yeah.
the whole you can tell they've changed this from the books because what starts this whole thing is Chinese woman during the communist revolution sees her father get beaten to death, all that stuff, is put in labor camp, basically experiences the worst of humanity. So she's then taken to a research facility to talk to we go, you need to do research, like fucking extraterrestrial shit. She secretly contacts aliens, and then one alien warns her, going, I'm a good alien. If you contact us again, the bad aliens are going to hear about you and come and invade Earth. Now, I looked it up. In the books, she does it knowingly because she wants humanity to die because she was under communist rule. But this one in the Netflix show, she contacts them even though she was told that they're going to kill all of humanity. And she goes, well, I thought they were going to help us.
What's it called? This show?
The three-body
Three-body
problem.
Like, she went, like, and then Ben Wong, fucking, what's his face, the Sorcerer Supreme from Marvel.
There it
Replacing
is.
Doctor Strange.
Okay.
What's the name? The Asian guy, Wong.
Wong. His name is Wong in real life and in the film, isn't it? Right?
Oh, yeah.
It's like
But anyway, he actively goes, an alien said, "Don't do this. Humanity's gonna die," and you did it anyway. And she goes, "Yep." He spells it out how stupid she is.
There is how many seasons? Season
Just
one.
the one at the moment. I
Right.
don't know when 2 is expected.
And then, like,
Can you
there's a
guys
stupid
watch this?
I watched the. Well, what happens is they have an alien hard drive on the Death Cult has an alien hard drive on the boat, and they go, right, what we need to do is we need to get access to that alien hard drive without anyone being alerted because they might delete the information on it. So in the book, apparently, they use this incredibly thin piece of wire to quickly cut through the ship and kill everyone on board. And it's supposed to be like a nano wire. So they go, any damage to this hard drive can be fixed because it's like less than paper thin. But in the show, for gratuitous violence, they have this incredibly slow-moving net just gut children on board the ship. And everyone's running from it. And then fucking Jonathan Pryce's character grabs the fucking hard drive. The whole reason why they didn't send soldiers in the first place. And he just doesn't delete it. He just holds on to it as he gets gutted into 1,000 pieces.
It is quite a funny scene watching them all fall into little pieces, though. I did quite like that. They sort of go splat, and then, but because it's not obviously really happening, some of the actors don't quite act in the way you would expect people to act when people get cut in half by something invisible. Yeah.
But then the ship falls apart. You went, how would you even find the hard drive? And you go, oh, there it is. It's so stupid.
We are living in a time of high art, is what it is. We just don't understand how brilliant it is. I think that's the problem.
Well, I had again. I know I've got a friend in LA, and he tells me things, and he's told me that producers now refer to films as content. They don't call them films anymore; they call it content. And then what they say is they get them to write the script, and every 5 pages, someone in the script has to describe what's going on. And the reason why
was the Netflix thing, right? They announced that they were going to write in this way because they want to assume that everyone's not really watching the shows they put out.
Yeah. So it's for the people that are looking at their phone. So they look up every 5 minutes according to them. And so every 5 minutes or 10 minutes, they have to have somebody describing what's going on. So because they know that people now don't watch a film all the way through. They're multitasking. So that's ridiculous.
I think that's why you get a lot of popular, terrible TV shows. Because, like, say they have those little prompt noises to make you look up. Like, oh, someone's about to be killed. Like, they have that kind of sharp beep noise, and then that comes in. You know, like you're clicking your fingers to a fucking dog.
It is, as I said, it's the whole concept of films and TV now is changing because of.
Whereas a film, you have to go out, pay for, sit in a theater, and you have to watch it.
Yeah, it's very it's as I said, it's very far and few between that you see a really good movie. The last good movie I saw, which was absolutely ridiculous, but it was a lot of fun, was it Sisu? I saw that on Netflix. You ever see that film? With the I think it's, what was it?
Is it like the Nazi one, the Norwegian guy?
One, yeah, with the gold and
I haven't
the
seen
Nazis
it.
one. Have you not seen it? It is a lot of fun. Very, very violent as well. Very, very silly, but it's very, very enjoyable.
I don't know why I had to house sit for a bit, and I just watched The Handmaid's Tale. I watched the first season and went, this has got to be one of the worst piece of media I've ever seen.
There's a lot of crap.
Women, I googled it, and women seem to love it, and they go, the newest seasons aren't as good as the first season. I went, the first season is dog shit. Like, it makes, I'm not even going to get into it, but it makes no sense. It's like pregnant women, the most valuable thing on the planet, since everyone's infertile. They just they just poke their eyes out for no reason.
And what's this new one that everybody keeps going on about? Is it Adolescence? Oh no, it's not.
Yeah, that is the one that people are talking about a lot, to the extent that it's now influencing government policy.
But is it just done in one take? I hear. Is it done in one take? The whole
Every
thing?
episode is one take, so it's one. It is actually genuinely one take. They said they
Right.
rehearsed 10 times. I've looked into it, and the more I watch it, the more I despise it because the problem is it's like it starts off with this false premise, which is knife crime is happening, and the answer is masculinity is the cause. It doesn't investigate it. It comes to this false conclusion. Then it tries to justify it. Like they have like surface level observations. Like they go, "Oh, the kid who stabbed the girl was being bullied," and then nothing comes of it. Just
Well,
like literally
the
nothing.
closest you get is like, well, that's another thing that we need to get rid of social media for, because social media enables bullying,
Yeah.
and then people who are bullied turn to Andrew Tate, and because they watch Andrew Tate, they become murderers. It's like, fuck off, Joe. What are you talking about? Even the director who like was talking, and the people who created it, you know, were listing some of the inspirations for this story and like the real life cases that they said they drew on when writing it, and not a single one of the cases they have so far cited in any of their interviews looks at all like the case they present to us in the show. Because the premise of the show is there's this white 13-ish-year-old kid from stable like nuclear family, upper middle class, who just becomes a killer, kills a girl, stabs her because social media is turning young boys into misogynists. See, there is a problem with men going around stabbing people generally, and men stabbing women particularly. None of them ever, or like, well, actually, no, I couldn't name you off the top of my head, and the director can't either, which is the most damning thing, can name you a single example where the person doing the stabbing is a white 13-year-old middle-class kid who watched Andrew Tate. It is a myth. But because it's a really popular myth that gets away from dealing with real problems in society, like identifying who's really doing the stabbing, everyone fucking loves it. And so there are questions in Parliament. We need to make this available to schools for free, so young boys can be told that they are one social media video away from murder. Great. We need to teach them government policy. Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of England, which is a country, you know, not known for having few problems to deal with at the moment, comes out and says, there's not a magic wand I can wave, but trust me, I will do something about the problems raised in this show.
He called it a documentary.
Aren't fucking problems. It's not an issue.
We were watching this last night. I'm glad I came back to this conversation. I haven't seen it. I had never even fucking heard of this show, and we were just watching it, and I was like, this seems like propaganda. Like, after we finished it, I was like, this is like really fucking dumb to me.
Well, the guy that plays the father, he was in some film where he was a cook, and that was all done in one take, right? So I'm assuming it's the same director that directed this all in one take. But it's
Graham is the co-creator. He plays the dad,
gotcha.
Jack Thorne. And he goes, we're criticizing masculinity. If you look at Jack Thorne, he looks like a stick insect. He's got no testosterone in his body. And there's a thing the show actually kind of exposes is how, in episode 3, the boy is subjected to a struggle session basically by the female psychologist, and like she keeps trying to trick him. She goes, "So, does your dad hit you?" And he goes, "No, my dad doesn't hit me." He goes, "So, does your dad hit you?" And he goes, "No, my dad." And then he ends up kicking off and screams in her face, and like the whole point, she goes, "I'm not trying to trick you," then immediately tricks him, and the whole purpose of it is to make him be like this monster that she's afraid of, even though she's torturing him with fake questions and these little fucking traps. And that's the interesting thing about it. It reveals a lot of the horrible treatment around young boys in Britain. Because
they won't see it that way, will they? They'll see it the other way.
Well, it's funny, like ninja swords have been banned in the UK.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all.
And 2 immigrant lads stabbed another immigrant boy to death, and apparently that was misogynistic incels.
It's just absolute peak retardation. It's like ninja swords. I think they have been legal for a while. There was I think it was the Knife Crime Act of 2003, I think it was, which sort of tightened some restrictions around it, but they've been legal to buy basically forever. You can't say, well, we're going to ban the ninjas, or at least the ninja swords. That will solve the knife crime epidemic, when we didn't have a knife crime epidemic for all of the many decades when it was perfectly legal to buy them. That's not how this works. evidently something else is going on.
There was
But
a
this
guy-
is just how policy is made in this fucking country these days.
I mean, I'm just
Idris
looking at.
Elba.
Sorry, go
Remember
ahead.
Idris Elba was saying about the knives? We should get rid of cooking knives.
Why? Oh, stupid, isn't it? No,
I'm
I
going to buy a
just
samurai sword because he didn't say he's banning samurai swords. He just said he's buying ninja swords. So I guess that means samurai are fine. I'll buy one of those instead.
I
Well,
was
a
just
guy
saying.
with
I
a
was-
Zelda, a 6-inch Zelda sword, fucking like a little a letter opener, got arrested for 4 months for carrying a dangerous weapon.
I was about to say I was just looking at it as a filmmaker that if they're making episodes where it's just one take, I always find that weird because now you're watching a play. You're not really watching a TV show or a movie. It's just a play, basically. That's what you're watching.
But
I find it really weird that they're basically going on about how great it is because it's just one take. It's like, well,
But I think it works.
weird.
It's effective. I mean, the thing that makes this very good propaganda is that it is evidently done to a very high degree of talent. Like the technique behind it is good. The performances are good. Internally, the writing is good. If you forget the fact that it doesn't correspond to reality, the writing is quite compelling. But what makes it it's partly that does make it very effective as propaganda. We're so used to using propaganda as this purely negative thing because we're used to Hollywood-style message films, which are so incompetent that everyone knows what they are. The real good propaganda is stuff that works very well as art, which I'm completely prepared to concede this does. But that's the thing that makes it more dangerous because it creates this moral panic that then ends up probably creating the very problem it's trying to solve. Because what message do you send to young boys if you then force them to sit down in assemblies at school and say, the problem is you by your nature, you are young boys, masculinity will turn you into killers. We have to stop you from being what you could be at a moment's notice. Like, that's incredibly demeaning to young children, and it's going to put them off the kind of social arrangements that they might otherwise use to modify themselves. So,
right. And I was having the conversation yesterday about this afterwards too. I said almost the exact same words as you just said, but in addition to that too, the criticism of the manosphere, instead of creating a conversation about why it exists, and that it's a response to feminism and the demasculization of men, what it actually ends up doing is saying, you know, that other space you just created, men? Well, that is also bad. And you can't have that either. We need to strip that from you as well. You cannot have that. And they throw the name Andrew Tate in there because he's this indefensible fucking piece of shit that no one should even like. But the matter of fact is, you throw his name in there, and then if you talk about the movie or the TV show as propaganda, you are somehow defending Andrew Tate. So it's like this shield against criticism for the film because he's this indefensible person.
And that's the other thing that children are known for, right? If you tell young boys, this person is bad, you're not allowed to like him, what do you think their response is going to be? It's not going to be to agree with the teachers who tell them that the man is bad. It's going to make them more interested in what this Tate demon has to say. Like, it's totally self-defeating. But it gets lots of very upper middle class white people, and particularly upper middle class white women, off on it because it means that it's such a safe moral panic for them to go in for. It doesn't allow, they're not expected to actually look at the world around them as it is because that will lead them to some unpleasant conclusions. It gives them something totally fictitious, and they're all allowed to turn around to their friends and say, oh, did you see the show? Yeah, it's so bad. We must do something about our boys. Fuck yourselves.
Well, Elon Musk responded to a tweet about it saying, wow. And then Jack Thorne, the creator, said, why did you race swap the characters? And he went, well, it's not the actual people, it's inspired by them. But what he said was, it's not just black boys committing the murders, but in the show, it's exclusively every white incel is, you know what I mean?
What? So hold on, I didn't get what you're saying. So it's based on a true story.
Well, it's inspired by a bunch of real stories, which is a bunch of non-white people stabbing other non-white people.
Oh, this sounds
so
horrible.
In the show, they went, it's not just black people doing it. It just seems to be all white people doing it. So, they do that. There's even a pointless scene in episode 2 when they make it like a fucking empty, vacuous statement about the school saying they can't police these kids. And it takes 40 minutes to say it. What they have a pointless scene of a blonde white kid bullying a black kid, which has no effect on the story. They just had to add in extra racial components to it.
Sounds bad. I'm not going to watch
and
this.
Then in episode 4, he asked one of the the store assistants who's black goes, "Do you have any paint? Let me take you to my white colleague." The white colleague goes, "I just want you to know I'm on your son's side." He's like a fucking Voldemort kind of goblin. It's like the caricatures of the incels is a joke. And we've said before, it doesn't ever, as Cynic said, doesn't ever address why the manosphere exists. And like they bring up the 80-20 rule, but they don't even explain
multiple times.
But they can't debunk it because the 80-20 rule was an actual data leak from one of the matchmaking websites, which was 20% of the women go after 80% of the women go after the top 20% of men. That was
that's an actual statistic. It's a real statistic that exists.
Yeah, that's actual raw data. So they just say it and then they just move on.
They make it seem like it's some incel fantasy instead of it being a fucking provable reality.
Yeah. It's actual hard data from matchmaking websites.
So right. Like... And the vast majority of dating does happen through apps and online now. So it just is factual fucking data. And they make it out to be, like I said, a fucking incel fantasy that creates a murderer. Show is pure fucking bullshit propaganda and it sucks. But it is well made. It's really well made. And the acting is fantastic. So you know, that brings a lot of people.
But the online thing is incredibly important to its success as a kind of a moral panic creation, though, because if you look at a load of stuff on my Facebook feed, which I like rarely ever use, it's just I've got some family members on Facebook, so sometimes I'll just check it. There are so many posts that I'm now seeing based on adolescence. Someone saying, if your child is using like the magic 8-ball emoji, it could mean this incredibly dark and sinister thing. You're just trying to scare the shit out of people because they're not paying attention to what their kids do online, which is the other thing. Most of this moral panic comes from the fact that there's a general uneasiness that some parents have that their kids have access to the internet because they let them have access to the internet. And they have access to smartphones because the parents bought them for them. And they have access to social media because the parents let them have access to social media. But the parents don't know what's going on any of these things. So these weird emojis the kids use could mean that they're turning into Hitler. And we need to control this. We must ban the social media as opposed to be a fucking parent and stop your kid having a smartphone. You don't need a ban to do that. Be a good adult. But that's too easy. We can't have a moral panic.
You've convinced me not to watch this show. You've convinced me not to watch it.
You should not watch the show.
I'm not going to watch it. It just sounds awful.
Do you know how bad it's gotten? I know someone who works in the civil service, and there's a lot of older white women, middle class, and they've went, I've took my PlayStation away from my son because of this fucking show. So imagine that. You're trying to play Call of Duty and your mum, having watched a Netflix show, fucking takes away the internet.
I also found that the show just fundamentally misunderstands like incel culture because as far as what I've read and watched and everything, like incels, like in America, I think there's something like 7 or 8 million men in America, and they're like, it's on them, but they don't fucking do anything. Like they just sit around and smoke weed all day and play video games and watch porn, and they don't actually like do anything, let alone become fucking murderers. It's like it's the most ass backwards way of looking at any fucking problem. It's like the actual problem with incels is they don't fucking do shit, let alone become aggressors. It's just pure propaganda, Ian. Don't watch this shit.
I'm not going to watch it. I've never been a fan of I call them magic tricks movies or TV shows where they do something where everybody goes, that was brilliant. I've never been a fan of one take films or one take whatever. I do like one takes, but this looks rubbish. Everything you guys have been saying, I'm just going to avoid it. It's just.
But the show is so evil that the natural conclusion is, if boys have invented a safe space, quote, safe space where they can talk about men's issues, and you're going to take that away from them, well, the only result is that the male suicide rate, which was already incredibly high, is only going to get higher because men can't talk about their issues anymore. Because the censorship's going to so the show is going to get a lot of people to kill themselves.
And if they don't do that, it's going to make them a lot more angry than they already are. And given that the show is concerned,
They'll
that
just smoke
young men
more
are,
weed and play more video games harder and jerk off harder.
Become
That's what they'll
ninjas.
They'll become masturbation ninjas. Do you guys mind if we get to some super chats
Yeah,
here?
go for
We
it.
have
Yeah.
quite a few
You
that
just
are
impressed me, so go for it.
First up is TGV Monster. It says, hello everyone. It's very wonderful to see all of you, but you want to know what isn't wonderful to see? Snow White.
True.
No, that wasn't wonderful.
No.
Nah.
We've spoken about that.
Yes.
What a shit movie.
Yeah. TGV Monster again says, I feel like Magneto would be a great villain to the Avengers, given his power renders most of them powerless against him, especially Captain Falcon Man.
Well, he can crush Doctor Doom's head with the
He
helmet.
could, yeah, he can.
Yeah, he could
Unless Doctor Doom has that special helmet that doesn't affect him.
allow it to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
David Smart says, hail the fellowship. I love this panel. Little Platoon, you destroyed Daredevil series. It was nice to see. I don't know about you guys, but I gave up on it. I have 2. I think I finished episode 3 and haven't gone back because they went, 4 and 5 came out double on the same day, I think.
Yeah.
4, 5, and 6 are now out on there, I
Jesus.
think.
Yeah.
I only watched the Punisher one, which is 4.
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
the only good scene in the entire show. Then I went back to shit.
Was it though? Say his name. Was it really?
I suppose it's the best out of the entire show.
It's
because
relative, yeah.
It's the only
Daredevil crying.
he actually Matt Murdock actually talks about or grieves over Foggy.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
We got something out of him.
He's crying. You got some tears out of him. Absolutely
Yeah,
nonsense.
basically.
Total rubbish.
Our good friend Hemorrhoid Hertz says, I imagine Reaper Love crippled atop his partner. What the fuck?
You know.
Nosferatu style, naked and emaciated, engorged and satisfied, but wishing he had worked harder on leg day. Oh fuck. Our friend Toivo Korhonen gifted 10 Little Platoon memberships.
Thank you and welcome.
God damn, my mouse is working funky. James Busher says, no, you guys never cover anime, but have any of you seen Solo Leveling? Easily the best thing I've seen this year. And has Platoon seen any Attack on Titan?
Gooch was just talking about Solo Leveling earlier. I think that's what he's streaming on this week, right? So he'll be talking about Solo Leveling on Diabolical Souls Presents. I think he said it was tomorrow. It's certainly at some point this week. I have not seen it yet. And Attack on Titan is still on my move from second to primary monitor list, but I haven't had time to do that.
Solo Leveling is basically a Gary Stu story. It's just, I can level up and no one else can, and he just fights everything every season. It's brain dead fun.
But
he's a bit of an asshole.
Sorry, go ahead. Didn't mean to interrupt you, man.
No, I was just saying it's brain dead fun, good action scenes. It's just the character, when he becomes more powerful, he kind of becomes a bit of a dick. Because just people are getting injured, and he just goes, and he just has the same monologue every time of, should I help? I don't want to. And then people are being murdered in the next room. It's fun.
Lion Mane Man says, do you think Marvel and Fox should go away from Disney? Do you think it would solve the problem?
Damage is already done.
Yeah, the damage is definitely done. I think a long ass break, no matter who owns the property, is probably best for it. But they can't have that. That's their only money maker. It's their only franchise that it's the last one that's made like $1 billion was Deadpool and Wolverine, but there's still money to be milked out of that bitch. So they're gonna do it.
No more live actions as well. Haven't they gone through them all?
Is it Lilo and Stitch? No, Lilo and Stitch they've made into a movie, right?
Oh yeah, it's the last one.
That is coming out. Yeah, then there's. But I mean, they've got all of the Pixar ones to do, right? They could still do like live action, Toy Story, live action.
Fuck.
Wally.
Live action Toy Story.
We've got Toy Story 5 with
What?
the announced with no script or dialogue or anything.
No. Oh no.
That Buzz Lightyear was a failure, weren't it?
It was a pretty big
Was.
failure, I think. Yes.
It was. Yeah.
Toivo again says, rank these quotes from least cringe to most cringe. It will be when it fits a woman. Batwoman. Yeah. Have you come to destroy me? Darth Vader from Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm not the one with the guns, director. Wanda from WandaVision.
That is tricky because like the Batwoman show, it is the epitome of cringe. And that is an incredibly cringe line, but it is also incredibly funny. Same thing with Have You Come to Destroy Me? The one that's most sincere and just the kind of like, what the fuck were you thinking with this line, writers, has to be C, right? I'm not the one with the guns, director, she says, having taken an entire town as her mind slaves.
Yeah.
God. So
What a
fucking dumb.
stupid bitch.
It's, you know what, right? I thought the show was going to be good. I watched the first 3 episodes and I was just my head in my hands. I just thought this is just awful. Can't believe that they made shows like this. All 3 that's mentioned here.
And then they did it like several times with every show they made being terrible.
How could they not know what they're doing? I'm confused.
I think it's got to be A.
Yeah.
Oh, let me pull it back up. Sorry.
Yeah. The Batwoman one.
That was pretty rough.
Because it's I'm taking Batman's fucking suit off him as well.
And then when she left, they replaced her with a black woman, didn't they?
They
But
went
it became
even
less funny because she could kind of
higher.
act, whereas like, Ruby Rose cannot, which made it hilarious.
Darth Vader's just an idiot. I go A, C, B.
ACB. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Toivo also asks, have you watched Possum Reviews? I have watched Possum Reviews.
No, I haven't.
He's he's just he's another YouTuber. And he does pretty good reviews. It kind of reminds me of Mr. Plinkett. Like he took the Mr. Plinkett persona and just applied it to all of his reviews, but you know, whatever, it works. It can be pretty insightful and fun. It's pretty funny. Vanessa, Disney and Rachel deserves to fail. They stomped all over the original Snow White movie. I cringe when I hear Disney is remaking another movie. Yes, don't we all? Yeah. And like we were saying, they got a whole plethora of Pixar movies to pick from after they're done raping their fucking animated originals.
Yeah, but what could they do with the Pixar movies, though? I mean, they're
what could they do with the animated ones?
It's like what? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, they've made How to Train Your Dragon, right? They've made that into live action.
They're remaking that, yeah.
And that was recent, wasn't it? It was what, 10 years ago, something like that?
I mean, they're doing Moana, aren't they? And that was
Oh,
we lost Reaper.
Oh, hello. Critical mass.
Yeah. But no, they're doing Moana, and that was the most recent, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, there's Reaper. We got him back.
He's back.
X'd my window by accident.
It happens. I've done that many times. Dragon Balls D. I prefer Jason Momoa with no clothes personally. Well, that's an opinion. God, and he further elaborates on why. I bet Jason Momoa is hung like Robin Williams.
Oh dear.
Well. David Gannon says the biggest problem with Zack Snyder's Watchmen was he had Ozzy creating public power stations based on Dr. Manhattan's power, and then the Crisis was that power. Yeah, he did change the story.
He did a bit, yeah.
Yep.
Especially
I hear some people prefer his version.
Well, actually, I got to admit, I do prefer his version to the comics. I mean, it ended with the big squid thing, didn't it? Destroying the town, didn't it? As I recall, the comic.
it
and he
gives
changed
Dr.
that.
Manhattan a better reason to leave.
Yes, he does.
Because with the alien, he kind of just goes, I don't want to be here anymore. Fuck you guys. Just leaves.
Yeah.
Steel Manning says Dawn of the Dead was the best thing Snyder did, and you are absolutely right. I totally agree with that. Did anyone else see that one?
Yeah, I saw it. It was okay.
Yeah. It's not
I do
bad.
prefer the original.
2004.
Yeah, it was 04, I think. Yeah.
That was the last thing he ever did of quality 21 years ago.
Yeah. Yep. Steel Manning says Marvel movies are like super chats. More money makes it better.
I wouldn't go that far.
I wouldn't go that far. Yeah. Yeah. Toivo sent in a huge super chat.
Whoa. That's a lot of
Damn,
money.
should have caught that one. Sorry, Toivo. It's 1 a.m. for me, so April Fools. You have these 3 actors and these 3 roles. You do the casting. Actors are Amanda Stenberg, Adam Sandler, and Whoopi Goldberg. And the roles are a high-budget triple X parody of Avatar, a mukbang YouTuber, and Tree Number 5, an elementary school production of Hamlet.
What is mukbang? I don't know what that
where
word
people
means.
just sit around and eat food on camera and like just eat an absurd amount of food. Avocado. Yeah.
Well, like Amanda Stenberg has fairly substantial tits, so I would assume that triple X Avatar thing would be good.
Yeah. Setting us
Someone
up
to sit around and eat and contribute nothing to society is kind of what Whoopi Goldberg already does on The View. So I would go for that one.
She's always gassy.
Yeah, and I guess that means Adam Sandler for the tree.
He could make a funny tree.
Oh, I agree. Although Whoopi Goldberg looks a bit like she looks like a Klingon these days, doesn't she? With that hairstyle. Oh no, not a Klingon.
She looks like she belongs on Battlefield Earth with John Travolta.
Say that. Yeah, she does. Weird. Absolutely weird.
Have any of you seen Battlefield Earth besides Ian?
I unfortunately have seen it.
I think
I saw it a long time ago.
What a piece
I think
of
it was on VHS. I saw it on. It's terrible. It's a terrible movie.
So bad. But so bad it's good masterpiece, you know.
Wouldn't go that far.
It's watchable because it's horrifically awful.
Well, John Travolta, he did put in I wouldn't say sterling performance, but
has he ever?
He meant it.
Yes, I'm saying I don't know what the word to describe his performance as.
He meant that.
Tried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Toivo. Next up was Ghost Army. Galactus will be introduced in Fantastic Four, and he will be the next universal threat. I don't know, because Dr. Doom's gotta be it. So I don't know if they'll
Galactus.
Ralph Ineson. He's the Welsh guy with deep voice.
Oh,
is he Welsh? Okay. But he's got that deep. He's on The Witch with what's his face? Scarf. I don't know anyone's name. Forget it. But his name's Ralph Sutton.
All right.
He's got a very distinct and deep voice. He sounds great.
I was just saying, right, in another stream, they've got the thing in this Doomsday thing, right? When I was young, I thought that when the Thing versus the Hulk was, I remember when it was first in the comic, we all rushed to the shops just to get it because we wanted the Thing to fight the Hulk, right? Why don't they do that in there? Because they did the Iron Man, Iron Buster suit versus the Hulk, which was in the comics, and they did that really well. That's when Marvel was okay. Do you know what I mean? And it was very exciting, and I loved that sequence. I thought it was really good. But they kind of screwed the Hulk now, haven't they? He's kind of
it's basically going to be bullying the Hulk if they have things.
Yeah.
The Thing batters Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah. I'd watch that too, though, I guess. I'd watch him bully the shit out of that little fucker. Ruddy says RDJ is writing Doom's cocaine habit into the plot.
I do like him, though. I do like Robbie Downey Jr. I do like him as an actor. I don't know what he's like as a person, but he's a good actor.
Muggy says, this is DC's Batman strategy. They throw a bunch of unknown nobodies into a team, slap Batman on the team so the brain dead casuals mindlessly buy it, hoping they'll accidentally care about the rest. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yep.
It looks like the Superman strategy as well, right? Given the number of characters in that film.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
With the Shang-Chi and all that, nobody cares about Shang-Chi nor the Thunderbolts. They're just shoving them in there.
They don't. And no one cares about, I mean, we were just shown with box office numbers. Nobody gives a fuck about Anthony Mackie as Captain America.
No.
But he has to be the leader of that Avengers squad. Okay.
Because he's black.
Isn't Bucky back into it? He's in this movie as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Even though he's running for Congress.
Right. How do they play that out? He's running for maybe he loses because he killed JFK. So like probably not.
So he goes, oh well, back to crime fighting.
Yeah. Guess I'm a bad guy after all. JD says, hey Reaper, I expect some great video content from you when a 52-year-old Rebecca Romaine walks on screen with that body paint.
They don't paint her body anymore. They because what they did with Jennifer Lawrence is they gave her a suit, didn't they? And it looked like her body was painted. That's what probably going to do with her as well.
If we're lucky, because Beast in the Marvels was CGI and he looked terrible.
Yes,
he did look really bad.
I hope she's got paint, but apparently the first time she had paint, she said it was the worst experience she ever had.
Yeah.
And she went, if she wasn't a runway model, she would have passed out because basically they had to keep reapplying the paint over and over and over again. Like it kept washing off and they had to put it back on.
But also those things that covered her boobs and her thing in the middle was always
her thing in the middle.
Well, I'll try to find a nice way to say it. But it kept peeling off, and she got, she was a bit angry that there wasn't stuff applied to it, so it wouldn't peel off basically. So, but she was literally naked though, but with paint on her. That's
but
crazy.
The director's going, oh no, it's falling off again.
Wow,
definitely a plan.
Maybe not by that director, because that was Brian. What's his face?
Singer.
He's gay.
Brian Singer,
yeah. Brian Singer, yeah.
He's been renegated out of Hollywood now, isn't he?
Yeah. Bonesaw is ready. Says, personally, I'd rather watch an hour-and-a-half movie with Hank Pym and Reed Richards extolling the virtues of wife smacking than Doomsday.
Is it like Sean Connery, where he goes, you give her the last word, but it's not enough. So sometimes a smack is required.
Steel Manning again says, if they wanted to make an interesting choice on short notice, they would have made an alternate universe Doctor Strange, Doctor Doom. Possible.
Is Doctor Doom still the Fantastic Four's arch enemy?
Yes.
Because I remember the Kingpin was Spider-Man's arch enemy, and then suddenly he's Daredevil's arch enemy in the comics. That is.
Well, he was kind of both, because isn't like Spider-Man's rival of rivals is his main bad guy is Green Goblin.
Goblin, yeah.
Yep. Again, my chat says the MCU has become like all of the other shared universes. Trash. They are too fragile. One bomb or scandal derails them. They fail way more than they succeed. Nintendo has a point. Keep it disconnected. What do you mean? We're going to get to the Super Smash Brothers movie.
Well, that's the thing that the live action Zelda movie kind of suggests will never happen, right? Because almost impossible to do if you're going to have animated on one side, and the different studios running them as well. I mean, it's not impossible that they'll find a way of doing something like it, but I don't know. I mean, they're not necessarily too fragile. You just have to be able to plan in advance, which is something they've completely failed to do.
They stopped doing.
Yeah, the problem wasn't that, well, they had a good plan for Kang, but then it went shit because he allegedly hit someone. The problem was that their plan was awful and nothing connected properly. This kind of thing isn't hard to do if you're plotting a really long novel with multiple chapters. It shouldn't be any different when you're plotting like a multi-chapter installment in a shared universe. It's just basic levels of competence and basic checks aren't being carried out.
It's because of the agenda. That's why everything's screwed. I hate to say
it does tend to derail things.
Yeah.
Do you think Link and Zelda will be black?
It was thinking
That'd be fucking crazy.
And instead
Crazier things have happened though.
Instead of a Master Sword, he has an Uzi.
he's played like Eddie Murphy or something.
Carries a Glock. Arkham Reaver says, instead of another versus battle, which fictional city do you think you'd have a better chance of surviving? Silent Hill or Raccoon City? Probably Raccoon City.
Yeah, Silent Hill.
Yeah.
Like a nightmare.
Yeah. Silent Hill seems like anything goes there.
Yeah.
Raccoon City, I can outrun a zombie. Maybe not a whole horde, but who knows?
Well, you got to get out before the nuke.
That's true. Yeah. Mega Spidey Man says, to all in our Revenge of the Sith, Obi-Wan said that he failed Anakin. I was wondering if you agree with him. I'm split on it.
Failed Anakin.
I failed you,
Well,
Anakin.
Well,
No,
technically,
I was doing Batman.
Yoda let him in the order when he said he shouldn't. I mean, the
Yes.
whole council failed him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really. They should never have made those prequels, because before I used to think the Jedis were really cool. And then when they introduced the Jedis, they were just idiots, weren't they? All of them.
Yeah, they are
Including
pretty
Yoda.
appalling. I mean, the movies go out of their way to try and kind of support the idea that, yes, Obi-Wan did kind of fail him in the way that he wasn't really ready to be the master to an apprentice like Anakin. They do their best to substantiate it, but they do it kind of in the wrong order, because like the line from A New Hope is, he's an old friend, and then they spend nothing but bitching at each other for the first two movies. And then they try and make them friends in the third prequel film, but then it's a bit too late to do that, so it becomes a little bit confused. But I agree with what they were trying to do. I just don't think they did it very well.
That was George Lucas.
Steel Manning says, maybe if they weren't important so many migrant ninjas, importing, I think, so many migrant ninjas, there wouldn't be so much crime amongst ninja clans in Britain.
I did see a bunch of comments to that effect, yes, under the announcement. It's like, why are you banning ninja swords? Why aren't you banning ninjas?
Gemma Cha says, The Handmaid's Tale is one of those shit Canadian books like The English Patient. It's garbage, but uni professors love to study the themes. English 100.
There's no themes. It's just torture porn for women.
I hated The English Patient when I saw it. I thought it was absolute trash.
You think for a society, like everywhere around the world is dying, and there's only a few women that can give birth. You'd think that those women would be the most valuable resource on the planet, and yet the way everyone treats them, it's like shit on your shoe. They go, what we're gonna do is, we're the only country breeding because we've gone back to the 18th century and basically made these women our slaves. But everywhere around the world has just not doing that. Everywhere around the world goes, there hasn't been a baby born in my country for 10 years. And you're like, and there's not a problem. The fact that the human race is coming to an end, no one seems to be reacting like that.
You're talking about The Handmaid's Tale?
Yeah, that's The Handmaid's Tale. Because I've not seen it and I've not read it either. But my impression of it was always like, I don't understand why there is this class of people for whom, like, if you tell them they're not allowed to abort babies in the 15th trimester in real life, they accuse you of creating like gender fascism. Like, you see all those people walking around in Handmaid's Tale outfits outside the Supreme Court. It's like, all we're basically saying is that maybe, you don't kill a baby after it's alive. I mean, that's kind of morality, isn't it? So that's at least the argument, but they have to sort of take it to the extreme opposite to make the point, which again, much like the adolescence thing, undermines the point you're trying to make. You can make a strong case for reproductive freedom, but not like this.
But the bad guys are right, because everywhere else around the world is heading to extinction. And then at a certain point, we find out that the other countries are willing to buy the enslaved women. So progressive Europe and Canada are going to buy sex slaves. So I'm like, everyone in this is fucking evil.
Isn't it just still going as well? Haven't there been like 15,000 seasons of that now? Or are they finally wrapping it up? Oh, good.
So I'm just going to blitzkrieg through it all. Fucking the retardation's off the charts. Like, there's a woman, like the punishment system makes no sense. A woman talks back to her handler, loses an eye. One woman engages in an act of rebellion, tries to subvert the governments of this totalitarian state. They FGM her. And I'm like, she doesn't seem to enjoy being raped at all. I don't think cutting off her clitoris is that much of a punishment. Because she's being raped anyway. She's not enjoying, and she's a lesbian. She's not enjoying it.
Oh.
But they're trying to act like that was the worst thing ever. And I'm like, the woman who lost an eye for saying no probably had it worse.
Yeah.
I will finish this. I watched out of pure curiosity. I went, I'm stuck in. I was house sitting. I went, I'm going to watch this, and it's so fucking bad.
Well, I'm not going to be watching that then.
Ruddy says Leeds dads traditionally pass down katanas to sons.
God, I wish I was born in Leeds. That would be cool. Isn't Mr. Brown from Leeds?
I don't
Did he
know.
get a katana passed down to him? I have to ask.
Damn, I wish I
know.
was British.
Really? No, you don't. Not now.
Nah, I
Not
love being
now.
American. It's fucking based. Grendel gifted 50 Little Platoon memberships. Holy fuck.
Thank you, sir.
Damn. And Taker610 says, I figure based on his avatar that Platoon is a slightly better looking Mackenzie Crook of Pirates of the Caribbean and The Office fame. Am I close?
I take offense to the word slightly, but okay.
I'll meet him in real life one day, and
Yes.
I'll let everyone know. But if we have a picture side by side or something for proof, we'll still put the face of his avatar over his face.
or pixelate it out or something.
Yeah. Logic VC says, hey, Platoon, first time catching a stream. Are you doing a full video on Dune? Sorry if you've already addressed this.
It's fine, only a few thousand times a month. Yes, I am. One day soon. I think I've set aside a couple of months toward the end of this year, which if I haven't had time to finish it before then, which I hope I will, there's nothing out in those months, so I will have no excuse because I won't be working on anything else. That is at least in theory. But the hope is to get it out even before then. We'll see.
Is that the new Dune, not the old Dune?
Well, I mean, there'll be a bunch of stuff on the old Dune in it, but yeah, it's
right.
basically both of the two new ones.
Oh, okay.
Echo Chamberlain says, just an extra super chat to further draw out the stream slightly longer than you'd like.
Oh no.
Thank you very much.
Fuck you, Sarah. Thank you. Intent Matters says, will the new Avengers movie have Marvel humor or will it be serious business? I think it'll be more serious. It would
Unless
be
everyone is Iron Man. All the Avengers are Robbie Downey Jr.
God, I hope not. No, because the people directing it, they did 2 Cap movies, the 2 last Avengers movies, and they kept the tone pretty serious. I think they'll keep it that way.
Yeah, but they did that crappy movie for Netflix and it was rubbish.
I did not watch that.
It was
Sounds
terrible.
like I should skip that on the way you should skip Adolescence.
Yeah. It was absolute shit.
Amabilis, sorry. If I was a straight white male, I would have KO'd myself a long time ago. Being blamed for everything wrong with the world would have gotten to me.
But we know it's not true, so why would you kill yourself? It's not true.
When you're a straight white male, you just feel superior to everyone, and that stops you.
Yeah, haven't you seen the show Adolescence?
Yeah.
Hemorrhoid Hurts for the final super chat says, ninja swords don't kill people, ninjas kill people.
That's right.
This is true.
Yep.
I think I genuinely will buy one though, just because, I mean, shockingly, I don't own a sword, and I'm quite surprised at myself. I own 2 lightsabers, but not a sword.
I've got a lightsaber.
That's an oversight, I think. I mean, the lightsaber does have one of those combat grade, like kendo strength things, so I could use it in a pinch, but I think a sword is probably required.
But that does do it for the super chats. So I guess we're nearing the end of the show here. I think the next thing to do is go around with the panel here and ask where we can find you guys and what you're up to. Let's start with you, Mega Geek. What are you up to, sir?
Well, I'm always on Brown's channel Wednesdays and Sunday. Actually, I find it quite fun on Brown's channel.
It is fun.
A lot of
Yeah.
fun. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. But I've also got Rebecca Gold. Obviously, I'm trying to finish that. I'm almost finished it. Actually, I only have 2 days to go. And my Indigo campaign was a complete disaster. I only raised like 1,500 quid or some nonsense like that. But I'm grateful. At least I've got something, to stick into the budget, and I'm really grateful for all the people that helped me. So that's nice. They will be rewarded. That's all I can say. So you can catch my stuff on the Rebecca Gold channel, which is on YouTube, and I'm on X as Ian Diaz. And that's me.
Yeah, and I'll make sure to put everyone's links in the description. You can check out Ian's Indigo, and Rebecca Gold is the YouTube channel to check out his web series, which is pretty good shit there.
Thank you, sir.
And Reaper, what are you doing, man? What are you up to?
The same thing I've been doing for 4 weeks.
All right.
Every time you ask me.
Yeah.
I have not changed. It's still
Fair enough.
It's still Adolescence. I never grow. I never develop. Everything I do is lies.
I'll add the links in the description. There are none right now. You're right. And what about you, Platoon? What are you doing?
Yeah, I gotta go back and do. Yeah, that would be nice. No, I have so much work to do. Snow White second channel video, hopefully tomorrow. Main channel video, hopefully this weekend, but was delayed for Captain America, so I've been delayed for Snow White. But eventually, those two things will come out.
Fair enough. And I think I'm doing a follow-up video to my Snow White review. I think it's good to just kind of put a cap on this disaster. And now that the second weekend box office numbers have come in and there's been more spillage in the Rachel Zegler drama, I think it would be interesting to do one more video on that. So that'll be coming out probably by the end of the week for me.
You say that, but she'll say something else. She'll never
and I'll
stop.
have to go in and edit the video.
Videos.
Yeah. But that does wrap it up for the show. I just want to thank the panel for coming on, including Gooch, who's not here, but I'll say it into the void. Thanks, Gooch. Appreciate you, buddy.
Cheers, mate.
And thank you to the chat. You guys are always on fire. And thank you to everyone who sent in a super chat. We really appreciate you all. And that'll do it for this week, but we will see you all next week. So, Platoon, I'll let you hit the button.
I'll hit the button. Goodbye.
Ta-da.
Bye.